Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. Tonight, of course, talking about Ridley Scott crying about comic book movies. A very special, very surprised Spider-Man No Way Home trailer event in Hollywood. What does that mean? We don't know. We're talking about it. Red Notice doing really well for Netflix, but bombing at the box office. And my personal favorite, Chud Watch. Jeremy Griggs, Geeks and Gamers, Cries on live stream over light criticism. All that and more here tonight. Hollywood After Dark. Let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. It's another fine, beautiful Saturday night here in Washington. I'm lying. It's pouring cats and dogs. It's gushing harder than a porn star's wet dream. I'm just saying it is wet outside, folks, which is why I'm live tonight, because the roads are terrible. So let's talk about some shit in movies. Tonight's going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking with some nice, fun folks this evening, discussing Spider-Man, discussing Red Notice, discussing Ridley Scott, and of course, Geeks and Gamers and that whatever the hell live stream today. And it's going to be a lot of fucking fun. So why don't we dive right the hell in, bringing in Resonant Justice and Forced Adversity. How's it going, guys?
What up?
Not all right. That's a great intro right there. So it's been a fun day. It's been a fun day to watch what was transpiring over what I felt was a very interesting interview. I think we could probably just end up diving right in if you wanted to get to that one, Dane.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. It's like, fuck it. Hit the ground running. We'll talk about all the other shit later. We'll just dive right into the meat of it. Usually when I do the Chud Watch stuff, we do that at the end. But for those of you out there who are salivating for the graphic, there we go. That's how we do this stuff. That is how we do this stuff. But today's been interesting because you finally were able to lock down. And this is what I found to be fascinating. You were able to lock down one of Geeks and Gamers writers and kind of like get him into a narrative corner. And I really enjoyed the debate because it was less of a debate and more of a, hey, you're full of shit and I'm just going to ask you questions until you can't refute it with anything of substance.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I've spent a couple of years paying attention to these narratives and they make it really easy because a lot of their content just repeats itself. And it's extremely hollow, the stuff, I guess you could call it criticism in quotes that they do, and like you can go from one channel to the other and the personalities might be different, but the talking points are exactly the same.
Oh, it's all the same.
Very uniform.
It's very, and I've noticed this, it used to be like Doomcock would set the narrative tone. And then they would all simp for Doomcock when he was kind of like the largest of the large at that point in time. His popularity has since kind of drifted off a little bit. Again, one of my favorite quotes here from Jeremy, and I give Jeremy credit for this, for saying it, for finally having the courage to come out and say it.
If you believe Doomcock's rumors, that's great. I don't.
But he used to. He used to. In fact, right before the release of The Rise of Skywalker, he was heavily pushing that and defending the Doomcock rumor that there were all these test screenings, that the test screenings for Rise of Skywalker were terrible, and the movie was god awful and garbage and everything else. And Louis Lecca, who runs nerdreport.com, also nukethefridge.com, reached out to his people, his contacts at Bad Robot, because he lives and operates in LA. And he got he's asking about test screenings, and they're like, there are no test screenings. And so he refuted that in a video, and then Jeremy white knighted for Doomcock. I wish I could find the video still. I don't remember what it was called. He's put out so much content, but like he was white knighting for Doomcock, and to the point of where he refers to Lewis as an anti-white racist.
Wow.
Lewis is Cuban and conservative.
Oh man.
And that goes to show you the literal lack of research that they do. And so anytime you can kind of get Jeremy to cry in a live stream like he did, he's doing it for profit. I mean, let's be fair, let's be real. He's not actually offended by it, but he'll go out there and he'll rub an onion under his eyes and he'll but you guys, he said something mean. And I say this all the time. Whenever there's a reaction like that, it just means that you're over your target, is really what it boils down to. And that's why it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I mean, well, so if you want a quick rundown of how all that played out last night, it was like I'd seen that Lyndon guy. He was saying some pretty gross shit to women on Twitter the other day. He was, women that were like people that are followers of Gail Simone, who he had retweeted and tried to dunk on, and freaking he was telling these women, he was retweeting them saying that they needed a good dicking and all kinds of stuff. I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So that's when I actually went and read his article, and it was just, I was literally laughing out loud by myself reading this at just how disingenuous and, the victim narrative he was painting as if he's just some innocent guy. So yeah, I was mocking him on stream last night, just kind of making fun of his article, and then he's suddenly in chat, and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "All right, man, you want to hop on? I've literally never done a debate on a live stream or anything, but let's have a chat." And,
I mean, it's not uncommon though. To be fair, I mean, I was like a 300 sub channel, and people sent my stream to Jeremy and other people from Geeks and Gamers because I was talking about them.
Yeah.
This happens all the time.
But doing it to me since I was that size as well.
Congrats to RJ again tonight.
That's true.
Dane and RJ.
We'll get to that here in a second. But here's a great one. This is just for the context. This is what Dane was mocking, right? My truth. I was attacked by Gail Simone fans because I called her out on Eternals. And his argument was literally one of the weakest I heard, because he's like, well, how can she be a comic book writer and not know the Eternals, is basically his argument.
She literally just stated an opinion, and he shat on her for it for no reason.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I have it right here. I just on my camera on, but I have it right here. I have got the Red Sonja Queen of Plagues or Plagueis motion comic Blu-ray that Gail Simone wrote. Right? So she is a comic book writer. I'm holding a fucking motion comic of her movie right here that I found for $5.
A great comic book writer, man. Like, she's fucking good.
I'm trying not to interrupt at all, but if you really want to see how toxic it could be, is her first YouTube video, the comments section, and you'll see all the big people in this community, like Yellow Flash, Umbrella Guy, that Star Wars girl, who's actually gotten a little bit better now that she's just cosplaying online. They all went in there and just immediately trashed her based on EVS's words. Like, they immediately agreed. It was just horrendous what they said to her.
I remember, like, right before I started doing YouTube, within weeks, I think I was on Facebook, which is right around the time I quit Facebook too. And Gail Simone talked about how she'd gotten suspended on Twitter because someone had reported her for misgendering them, but it was like some Comicsgate dude who she had called him dude in a tweet, and he reported that and said that she had misgendered him because he's trans or something. It's like just the most dishonest scumbag shit, utilizing tools that they criticize. They like to make fun of pronouns and whatnot, but
apparently, I don't know if it's D-Day Cobra or not. I have no idea. We have a lot of fake people in the chat.
I checked.
Okay.
Jeremy's currently playing Call of Duty on Twitch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, stop spreading BS again. Remember, you're also grifting for money. I mean, I like money. Don't get me wrong. I was just taking people.
Gifting. He said gifting. Gifting for money.
Oh,
I'm gifting for money. Oh, I think I know. Then I think I have a feeling I know who that account is, actually. I have a feeling at this point I know who's been faking it. But thank you for continuously to give me some cash. It will be a good night for that, obviously. No. Here's the thing is, I'm honestly, like, I do these live streams. I call out a bunch of shit. And I'm honestly said, I don't really care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're liberal. I'm liberal as all hell. What I care about is integrity in the argument. If you have an opinion, espouse that opinion. If you have a duplicitous or disingenuous opinion, I'm going to call you out on that shit, because it's like the thing is today, I think, I have the clip here. We'll watch it real quick. This is what really peeved Jeremy. Apparently, this is the clip that they posted on Twitter that apparently really got under his skin. And you know which one this is, Dane? You know which clip I'm going to show?
Is it the one where I list off the movies that over time they've treated the same way?
I think so. I think so, because it was a long debate, so I'm not entirely too sure what
I
point
just
this
hope it. I hope it's not the one that somebody did on Twitter where they sped it up and I sound like a chipmunk. But
Oh, that'd be funny. But I will fully admit I haven't, because I was rushing to get this stream started. I haven't really checked it yet.
Okay.
We'll find out though. We'll find out. It will be fine. It will be good. If anything, it'll be Chip and Dale for the
I
new
can find it
generation.
for you. I retweeted it. I can give it to you.
You know what? That's actually where it was. I got it from the retweet on you, so we're good. Let's just give this one.
Captain Marvel, like there was, I don't know how many videos, and I'm sure Geeks and Gamers is one of them, probably articles too, if I look, where it's just they're screeching about her being a feminist, you know, that hates men and stuff, when it's like all she did was say that she thinks there needs to be more people of color that review movies, and that gets turned into like this. It's like you guys operate.
I don't want to hear what a 40-year-old white dude has to say about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for you.
Okay. So why do, okay, fine. You want to make a video about that and say, I think that's a shitty thing to say, but why did it turn into like a year almost of nonstop videos and
because he was using the algorithm, like he knows the algorithm was like geared towards making those kind of videos, so he did it.
So you do admit that Geeks and Gamers uses the algorithms and how it favors sensationalism and outrage. So you're making outrage content, right?
What is YouTube about getting views? A lot of people want to get views. Like if your algorithm is pushing one thing, you're going to make more videos on that thing.
Well, because look, when I make content, I'm making it based on my ethics and the things that I actually believe. I try to, I'm as honest as I possibly can be. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, if I wanted to make content about, you know, this that pisses me off and this that pisses me off, I would, and I could be far more successful, but I actually have ethics. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's what I think that it's completely dishonest to crank out these videos that basically say the same thing over and over and over and over again, as if it's new, and to lie about the industries and say that, you know, the comic book industry is failing despite, you know, all this data that clearly shows that that's not true. You know, it's deceptive. Why are you okay with that, man? Like, do you ever stop to think that, hey, maybe I could like, you know, be a more positive contributor to fandom than this? Or you just sleep well at night and don't ever think about it, or what?
I have like, are you talking about just Jeremy though? Like, I'm
talking about you. Like
me?
You are working. Yeah, you're working for this website that is connected to a very prominent, hateful channel. It's hateful. You know, you can say it's not, and you can say that, oh, we got LGBT people and stuff. That doesn't preclude it from being hateful narratives.
And that's a great clip, because like he literally was like, it's the algorithm, says the man who sounds like Crocodile Dundee on a soy-based diet.
Oh, I thought you were saying I sounded.
No, he's the Aussie.
I was like, damn, dude, fucking roasting me in chat.
I would roast.
See, that was a great clip, but that was the one that Jeremy chose to like not even address. Like, that's a great point.
That's what somebody. That's where I found it was somebody saying that he literally stopped it before that point, and it's like, yeah, he can't let his audience listen to that. You know what I mean?
When you talked about being ethical, that was hilarious to him. Like, how dare someone say you be ethical about your opinions and what you put out to the world? It's just the big joke.
I'm just virtue signaling by having ethics. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I always love that too. It's like, and that's again, like I keep saying, have whatever opinion you want. It's really the ethics that I care about. And it was really hilarious though, as you could tell that Lyndon doesn't understand what any of that means. You know, I mean, he's writing articles like this because he criticized her and her fans came at him, and she didn't respond? Like she didn't, or did she respond to him?
She had retweeted him once, and that's whenever he started getting, you know, I don't even know. I should look at how many replies he actually got. I'm willing to bet that it's not even, you know, maybe a couple of dozen replies, and they were probably, I mean, it's Gail Simone fans. It's not the same as getting a couple of dozen replies from comic skaters where they're going to say fucked up shit.
If it was Ethan Van Sciver's fans, it'd be a little bit different, you know. Right. I mean, single cell amoeba, when it grouped together, can be quite annoying.
Sure. Well, yeah. I'm gonna head out. I just wanted to make an appearance on the stream. Great job, guys. Great job, Dane and RJ and Matt. Have a good stream. I'll be watching from my bed.
Later, all right, man. Go to bed, Max. He's got work on Monday. So, you know, he's got to make sure he's on a good time, on a good schedule. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, fuck it. Caffeine.
We'll stream at like 2, 3 in the morning.
That was late last night. But yeah, I mean, that was a great little clip right there. I really enjoyed the whole exchange, because what I really felt was great was that you kind of like, you presented him with like these examples, and then you presented him when he tried to weasel out, you didn't let him weasel out. He was trying to go, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or he couldn't say I don't know, or I don't have an answer. And that of course really does boil down to the concept of the entire aspect of the fandom menace, especially of geeks and gamers. And quite frankly, their associates, their employees, if you will. And that rampant amount of dishonesty is what I think needs to be called out more. So I've been enjoying your content quite a bit because of that. I think you have a very good viewpoint on this kind of stuff, and you also pull from your past experience of being what you describe it as being a bit of an anti-fan yourself.
Well, that's the term that I've started really taking to using when it comes to just like all of these, whether it's Comicsgate, Fandom Menace, Geeks and Gamers, any of these people that basically just crank out anti-SJW, anti-woke content all the time, and and mostly whenever they use the media as as they pretend that they care about this media and the quality of it and stuff like that, and yet they root for it to fail. They cheer when it fails, or they twist narratives to eat when it's not failing to make it look like it's failing. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see that as someone who's actually a fan of these things. So I consider them anti-fans. They engage with the media, but not in any kind of positive way, and in fact, a destructive way.
Well, and that's kind of their whole angle. I mean, I agree with McLeod here saying that, you hit the nail on the head with your anti-fandom and fascism video. And they do use people of color and LGBTQ people as tokens. Every time you criticize Jeremy for the things that he says, he'll go, well, we have gay people who work for Geeks and Gamers, right. And it's like, it's such a weird argument. Like, one of the things I enjoy criticizing them on is the money, because that's where you kind of hit them in their pocketbook, and they really hate it when you criticize the money. Yeah. And I got into it with one of their supporters one night, because one of the things that they'll do, and this is kind of a bit of a shield that a lot of really shitbag people do, is they raise money for charity. And I know that sounds horrible to say, but in the case of, let's say, the like Nerdrotic and all the shit that he says, which, I mean, if you're ever looking for a treasure trove of, oh my fucking God, anything he says is like that. But they'll do charity streams and they'll donate a whole bunch of money and whatever, and they use it to hide behind any kind of criticism. So I was criticizing them one night with this one guy, and this is on Max's stream, and it's this guy named Justin Proper. And he's coming at me, and he's all like, he mentions like the charity thing. And I say, you cannot use charity in this argument. You cannot hide behind charity. It doesn't work. And he got so frustrated at me for pushing back on him that he actually sat there and he went like, yeah, well, let me know next time you raise $1,000 for charity. And I got him. I nailed him on it.
It's like, do they think that they're paying some kind of toll so that they can just be shitty people? Is that how they view it? Like, oh, well, I paid this $1,000 to charity out of the, probably tens of thousands of dollars I make a year from this stuff. And that's basically like buying a pass to say whatever the fuck they want. Yeah, it's really dishonest. Whenever I did a video on Richard Meyer a few months ago.
Good old diversity in comics.
Yeah, he was like, he had announced his 5th crowdfunding project when he was still behind on 4. So he's like announcing a 5th one and saying, oh, sorry, I'm late on the other 4. Here's a new one that I want you to support. And I just was like, man, this is such an obvious scam. This is too easy a video to make to prove that how much of a scam this shit is. And he emailed me like within minutes of the video premiere being over. He emailed me and was like, because I'd said something about him raising money for a trans charity after being called out for being transphobic, and that I didn't know if he'd ever really paid that money. And he sent me a receipt, an email. Like, he didn't take issue with any other thing that I said in the video, or at least he didn't say anything about it. The only thing he wanted to make sure was that I saw that receipt, that he had actually sent the money. So,
and I did the same thing to Nerdrotic one time. This was right when Peter Mayhew died. They had a live stream where this is what, 2019, before everything went real bad in regards to their antics. And they were raising money for the Peter Mayhew Foundation. But what happened was YouTube had turned off the super chats for good at that point in time. And so Nerdrotic was just taking the donations directly to his account. And you guys know this as well as I do. When you have when you take super chats, that gets tied to like whoever's social security account is part of the Google AdSense that's associated with that account. So, Gary is getting sent these super chats where he's like, going to lose 30% right off the bat. And then he's got to take out an additional 25% in order to cover the taxes of those. But those are now being tied to his at the end of the year earnings. So he's going to have to, find a way to keep in, to kind of claim those something, right? Well, he's then donates money to the Peter Mayhew Foundation, but he only donated $500 and he donated it in the name of Jeremy. And I'm pretty sure he made more than $500 on that stream.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of those things where I haven't gone back and because the live stream is still active. He's written about it on his website. Like, it's still there. The information's still there. I haven't gone back and watched everything to count up all that's been talked about. Because for one, it's like 3-4 hours long, so I really don't want to do it. But again, it's like I've always had that kind of question in the back of my mind. But when I pressed him on it on Twitter one day, he did send me a receipt. So obviously indicating that there's been donations there. But I've always been wondering in the back of my mind, the people who do that, where they don't go through an actual nonprofit link themselves, where they collect the money and then they go and donate on behalf of who donated money to them. They can just write that off as a charitable donation at the end of the year. So they actually have a financial incentive to continuously do that in order to be able to then go, well, I want to reduce my taxable income at the end of the year. I can now take this charitable money that was given to me, and that's that right there. Yeah. So, and I'm not accusing anyone of that. I don't have any specific knowledge of that, but knowing their grift.
It's well known that that's how rich people, tend to donate to charity as well. So I wouldn't put it past them at all.
No, I wouldn't pass them at all either. I mean, that's how people get around that kind of crap. And a lot of these guys end up, look at this comment here from Relapse. It says, I like how Jeremy refers to them as employees, but if you look at his website, they're all volunteers.
Oh, so shit, really?
So, I mean, that's the thing. So Jeremy, I think Jeremy understands at the end of the day that his particular, his brand on YouTube is probably near done. At some point in time in the near future, YouTube is probably going to just strike them down. He'll say something, he'll go too far. Kennel's going to be the first guy, and he says some pretty abhorrent shit. And so those guys are all going to be pushed. They're trying to legitimize by no longer really associating with Doomcock. I've noticed ever since the Commandant stuff came out, they very much backed off of Doomcock.
What's the Commandant stuff?
Oh, you don't know about the BitChute Nazi.
Oh, no. Okay. So I had heard that rumor a year and a half ago. I watched a video of that dude, and I was like, that does seem like the same guy to me. And then I mentioned something on Twitter, and one of my good friends who is a very fact-based person, DM'd me to say, no, I don't think that's him. It was proven wrong or whatever. And I took his word for it. So
it has not been proven wrong.
Okay.
I mean, I'm now more convinced than ever, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Right on.
Doomcock is super into the occult. All right, he's super into the occult, and I've been kind of covering some of his live streams. There's this new guy that they've been bringing on. Not new, but he's been around for a while. His name is Cameron Pasha, and he's a supposed Hollywood insider. And
he worked on what was it, Tron Uprising? Apparently,
yeah. He did the show. What was the show he did? He worked on, I think, Bionic Woman or something, or Kings or Sleeper Cell, Showtime Sleeper Cell.
He knows everything that's going on in Hollywood.
But he's also been oh God, what was it? He was supposedly blacklisted. His Twitter accounts keep getting taken down and everything else. And he's super anti-vax, and he's super he just reposts e-thoughts, a bunch of those girls on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And he'll be like, I think he said one of his times, he's like, oh, yeah, if you don't like that I repost beautiful women, then F off. And it's all right. I don't care that you repost beautiful women. I just think it's really funny that they're all almost all blonde hair, blue eyed white chicks, hey, everyone's got a fetish. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to kink shame them, but it's just always kind of funny to me. And so but the thing with Doomcock being into the occult is the Commandant was really also into the occult and built this entire world around basically Heinrich Himmler and the stuff that the Third Reich believed in, the Vril Society and the death. His whole. Have you seen the image of the Commandant? Have you seen what he looks like?
It's been a long time, but I mean, yeah, it's very clearly a Nazi-inspired character for sure.
Oh yeah, super Nazi-inspired character, and ended up, kind of being like, oh okay, like that's kind of, kind of creepy because he's got like the black sun flag behind him, and it's very Third Reich. It's very Third Reich inspired. But then he has all this fiction about like, instead of, Doomcock is, I live in the center of the world, of the earth, and I'm going to take over Earth from the center of the earth. Okay, whatever. But then Commandant is coming in from a base on Antarctica. It's very fiction based. It's very story driven, and both are very similar on that. And their speech patterns are very similar, especially the breathing pattern.
Yeah, that's what I remember thinking too.
Yeah, they breathe very similar to one another. And so I always found that to be kind of fascinating. But I'll tell you what, in my mind, what ultimately became the icing of the cake. Did you ever see the video that Jeremy and Doomcock did from inside Jeremy's car?
I did not. I don't. Oh no, maybe I did. Maybe you did.
It's always wearing that luchador mask.
He's wearing the luchador mask.
Yes.
I want you to look at the luchador mask and see if something it just kind of pops out.
Okay.
Just a little thing popping out there. Just I kind of want you to see what's on the mask.
Is it a K?
It's a K.
What does that stand for?
Commandant is with a K.
Oh, got you. I did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah. Now, granted, that's probably me. I don't know. I could be reaching.
No, I mean, I just didn't realize that it was with a K. I'm looking right now, and Max has a video. The first one that comes up, it says Doomcock is Commandant, and it has a K. So yeah, yeah. I mean, looking at it again, I would be willing to put good money on being the same dude.
Oh yeah, no. I my personal opinion is that it's the same guy, and I think that when that came out, they distanced themselves from him because of the implication. And then also when it came out that Ketwalski, who is a Star Trek YouTuber, had been planting like...
Yes, I actually covered that in a video.
That was great.
Brilliant, man. I was like, I literally was standing up cheering watching that Ketwalski video.
Yeah, that was great stuff, man. And then ever since then, Doomcock has not reported on anything Star Trek related. Now he's on Kathleen Kennedy saying she's been fired for the 18th billion time.
Yeah.
He even said the other day on Twitter that as of October 30th, we don't know if she has a job or not. Never mind that the website still lists her as the president. And there's been no formal announcement of her stepping down or anything, or her being replaced or anything like that. And then he got ratioed really hard on Twitter. And I've been noticing that a lot of these people have been getting ratioed pretty hard. Like Yellow Flash yesterday going off about X-Men 97 being woke, and everyone was just kind of ratioing them on Twitter about it because like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, the downside to it is that on YouTube, because of how they game the algorithm, that echo chamber, that ain't breached. And I honestly can't tell you if it ever will be breached. But maybe one person at a time. Like maybe you'll be able to chip away at it. And I get comments on videos all the time. People, they message me on Twitter all the time that they've left the fandom menace that they see now exactly for what it was, that they were angry with the direction of Star Wars, but they have realized now that it was all just being, it was all just kind of a grift. Rational Skeptic here for $5 money. Thank you. Says, what's Jeremy going to do after people catch on to his dishonesty and grift? You can only milk a cow for so long. Well, you go to a different cow is basically what it is. And if you've ever watched how Jeremy, he did, he's openly bragged about making 200 videos on Brie Larson. And for simply having the audacity to exist as a woman.
Right.
But then they're not sexist. And I asked him once, this is the last time we had any kind of actual vocal interaction. And this is why I don't think he will ever speak to me again directly, is I asked him what would, because he is a kid. And I asked him what his daughter would think about seeing those videos. And he did not like that at all. And I'm not trying to shame him over it. I'm legitimately asking one parent to another.
Yeah.
Like what, and he's like, well, what's going to happen when your kids find out about the flagging? Well, shit, like, we'll talk about it. It's like 2018. By the time they understand, it's going to be like, 2028. It's going to be 10 fucking years. Like no one's going to care. No one cares now. It's been 3 years. But that's kind of the whole point, is like, that's his go-to, his defense. But that I think that shook him. And that's the kind of questions that I think need to be asked, where it's like, do you believe what you say? If you believe what you say, then you would have no problem showing this to your kid. But if your kid I mean, but just imagine that it's somebody else's kid. That's what I'm trying to say. Somebody else's kid who already has maybe their own body issues or their own issues or whatever, and they come across those 200 videos of just attacking and attacking and attacking. Like, how is that going to warp their mind? And that is a lot of what was going on with, like, you know, look at Q. Q, for example, is a massive problem where they still believe, even though Trump's out of office and Trump is saying get the vaccine and all this stuff, Q lives on.
Yep.
Even though Q is never really real.
Q hasn't posted since like December after the election.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
no. Oh yeah. I know. Let's see. Oh, Josh Bowen here says apparently Echo Base turned on Max and was talking to Jeremy about Max's mental health. Max just did a video on it. It's a shame. I've called that Echo Base a bunch of times because I know
what happened was that
shit.
Echo Base left a super chat telling Jeremy, "Hey, just so you know, Mad Max is watching your stream right now." And then Jeremy went on this big rant about Max is like mentally ill and all this and that. I'm like, what? It was just bizarre to watch.
Well, that sounds like Jeremy, but yeah, he got kind of pissy. This is the tweet from earlier.
Yeah.
You know, you're a lying piece of shit. Try doing some research. I love it because just the other day, actually, Caden is here. Caden and I watched Jeremy's car video about the Eternals car video, where he's clapping SOS, save me from myself. And but no, he was talking about the Eternals being banned in Middle Eastern countries, and he used it as a way to attack Disney for being diverse. It's like he doesn't understand what he's talking about, and this is why he has to.
Very bizarre, yeah.
Very bizarre. That's why he says "fuck you" in your pronouns, like, you know, because he has to react like that.
They always go to the pronouns too. There's like a $50 super chat with some guy saying that people who use pronouns in videos are like the way Dane does. It's like they need to be locked up in mental institutions. It's like, what the fuck? You know, it's like these are just some very strange, sad little men. You know,
I mean, well, when it comes to the whole like pronoun debate, like I'm actually like, I don't know. I don't care about pronouns, to be honest with you. Not that I say don't. If you tell me your preferred pronoun, I will do my best to like use it. But I'm also like not going to sit there and go, all right, like, you know, I think it is kind of what it is.
I started using them recently out of solidarity, and that's why a lot of people do, because like you know, and I think that creates the misconception with those types of people, because you know what doesn't create a misconception with them, but like they look at how many people have pronouns in their bio and they think every one of us are just fixated on our gender or whatever, and it's like, no, I think probably there's a percentage of people who genuinely do want their pronouns to be known because they're trans or non-binary or whatever, and I respect that. Myself personally, I don't give a fuck about, like, I mean, I give a fuck about respecting people and how they, you know, as long as they're respectful to me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, if just like your name is Matt, if you said, you know, I want to be called they, like, whatever, it doesn't affect me, you know? I that's what makes you comfortable. Sure. I think it's fucking weird to take such a bizarre, hard stance against it.
Well,
but yeah,
I think
I started doing it on my channel just to show my audience, like, you know, that I understand and I have solidarity with you on this. And another thing is my kid is non-binary. I have a 16-year-old that came out as non-binary a few months ago. And
oh, cool.
Yeah. So just in that regard, and they've been happier than they've been since they've been a teenager. But since then, by the way, like it's been incredible to see just how much they've come out of their shell since that, and feeling supported and stuff like that. So, you know, to me, it's worth it. If I can do that little bit for somebody and they feel more secure in themselves and happy in this fucking fucked up world, then I'm going to do it. But yeah,
I get that. I think now what I find to be funny though about the whole pronoun thing is how we're moving into the neo pronoun type of that.
I don't really like those. I don't think.
Yeah, I just find it funny because think whatever you will about Lauren Southern, but like all of that shit's coming back about the attack helicopter.
Yeah, the one joke.
I know, and trust me, I was friends with Lauren when she said it. She had recently talked about me. This is back when she was like a cultural libertarian before she discovered all the craziness. Right? I mean, my God, when that book came out, I went like, the fuck, you know, like holy shit. When did this happen? But yeah, when I first met her, she was more of a cultural libertarian type. And then just watching her transformation into the, oh dear God, was very fascinating. Like I unfollowed her on Twitter, but she still follows me. And as a result of that, I'm on so many block lists. Same with Ian Miles Chong, because I've known Ian Miles Chong for years. And so I unfollowed him, but he still follows me. So again, I'm on so many fucking block lists. Like it's insane how many people block me who I probably agree with like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
You know, yes. I love this here from Laser Loop Gaming says, so Jeremy called Force Adversity a piece of shit for doing research. Wow. Well, he was trying to say that Jeremy's whole thing is that if he can find an inch, not even an inch, like a centimeter, he'll grasp onto that no matter how weak it is. And that's, I think, probably what he was trying to do here. Something about the Black Panther review.
Yeah. And like I said, if I'd be perfectly willing to admit to Jeremy and apologize for being wrong on that, if he would just address a single one or a handful of the other many claims that, you know, I made in that discussion, because yeah, that was a moment when I was speaking kind of loose and off the cuff, and I wasn't aware that he had made a positive review about Black Panther or whatever. But was anything else I said off the mark? Not really. So, you know, if you do address any of those, then sure, I'd give him that. But
well, see, the thing is, though, and I kind of was talking about this on Max's stream earlier when Max was kind of defending that point on Jeremy's angle, because that's kind of what caused me to go off on Max. And the thing is, you know, him saying at the end, he's like, oh, I liked Black Panther. I can't say anything bad about Black Panther, but it was just way overhyped. That's a fair take. That's a very fair take. But now, fast forward it 3 years, and you look at Eternals and Shang-Chi, and all of a sudden now it's just they attack that movie constantly before they've seen it. Yeah. So whatever he wants to argue about Black Panther, that's all moot in my opinion. It was applies, 3 years ago
to these movies. So,
you know, because that's the whole point, is that they've turned their attention from Star Wars to Marvel, because Star Wars is on an upward trajectory. And even though the Gina Carano thing gave them a little bit of you know, food for that fire, they couldn't sustain it because she kept being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I don't know if you've ever watched my stream, but I made a couple t-shirt designs. Gina Carano did everything wrong. And my personal favorite, and I do want to get this one made, the Gina shot first shirt.
Oh, that's good. I like that her head is actually too big for the body. That works.
Yes,
that was an aesthetic design. That was an aesthetic design I made, and like I literally made that in like 5 minutes on Canva. So the design is shit, but it gets the laugh, it gets the results I'm after, so I'm okay with that.
It's meme quality meme.
You know what, you got a meme sometimes. Like the other day, I don't know. Are you a fan at all of John Campea?
No, I can't stand him, honestly.
That's for the best. I don't know if you saw this. I was posting around on Twitter. I made a wanted by the FBI meme. It's a whole thing. I can't find the whole image for some reason.
That was like one of the best thumbnails he's ever made.
Yeah, but I literally have like the whole rap sheet. Actually, I have the whole thing made.
So what was the story with that? Like he used a fake image, but Sony contacted him or something? I didn't really look into it.
Well, no, he got sent like
2 real images from the upcoming Spider-Man movie. He thought they were fake, so he put his watermark on it because he wanted the credit, because he posted an earlier Photoshop that got 12,000 retweets, and apparently it was real. He screwed up.
So yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, he's like, but you guys didn't see."
With an S in their name.
Yeah,
called him.
I've got a 4-second meme clip. If you want to share it real quick.
It's sure, man.
There it is.
All right, let's see.
Wait, let me start.
Oh yeah, I saw this on your Twitter. That's great. That's fucking great. I think what's funny about that too is, for one, just that video clip in and of itself shows you how bad the Flash is. And and two, it serves it well from the fact that those guys really can't stand criticism unless they're in an echo chamber, and even then they can kind of deflect from it a little bit. But the thing I really wanted, I thought was really funny was when RJ was in the chat, and RJ had just made a comment, and then it set Jeremy off on this like very interesting.
He was pissed.
Oh yeah, this interesting spiral here. Give this a listen.
Guy now, and it's like I see a guy, Resident Justice says, Jeremy, you're coming across as cherry picking his argument. Maybe have an open conversation with him would be more productive. Ultimately, You made the fucking rules, motherfuckers, okay? You guys cherry pick my shit all day long, and you don't like it when I do it back to you. I play by your rules. If you don't like these fucking rules, then don't make them. If you can't handle these rules, then don't make them, because I'm going to hold you accountable to your bullshit. And I've seen you and your shitty channel cherry picking my words all day long. I've seen other people do it all day long. So if you can't handle the standard that you have created, then don't come fucking crying to me, because I will hit back twice as hard. And I have no sympathy whatsoever for anyone that cries when I hold them accountable by the same bullshit that they brought to my front door. Just remember that. Back to me.
Okay, I got something to say here, because if he's holding himself to our rules, well, one of my rules is you can't cry like a bitch whenever I call you out. Another one of my rules is you should have empathy. Another one of my, you know what I mean? It's like,
okay,
it's
right.
incoherent defense. It's like, so first he's just like, I'm cucking myself to these nebulous rules that he's claiming that we make up, but then also he's going to retaliate because of the rules.
Yeah.
What?
So first off, thank you, Jeremy, for watching my channel. I appreciate the viewership that you're giving me.
Yeah.
Second off, the fact that he apparently I'm the rule maker, folks. I make all the rules in terms of how we engage with them. So I am the one sole rule maker on my shitty little YouTube channel.
What I find to be really funny about all that is he goes like, you know, I don't make the rules. You guys make the rules. You cherry pick me all the time. Bitch, the fuck do you do? You know, like you look at any of his shit, like when he made 3 videos about the Eternals last week or 2 weeks ago, and it was the same Twitter like tweet in all 3 videos. You know, like it's just he's cherry picking what a subtweet or what a tweet says that's linking to an article without actually reading the article. You know, they look at the you know, fucking bounding into comics and shit.
Well, I think you know what it was though, Jarbo. I think what really got him probably pissed off was the Shang-Chi video I did, where in the comment section he got like 1.2K dislikes, and his comment section was roasting him, saying, "Jeremy, this was a good movie. You're just being an asshole, all this and that." I made a video on that, right? It got like almost like 7,000 views, almost 8,000 views. So I think that probably like. That might have been the one that ticked him off, because like, you're taking stuff out of context. I just played the video. I mean, you could say I'm cherry picking stuff, but I'm using their own words, you know. So it's like, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, Relapse here makes a great comment. Didn't Jeremy hate on Brie Larson for 12 months based on a cherry pick quote that was completely taken out of context?
Yes.
I mean, look, I covered that quote when it first came out. I thought Brie, I get what Brie was saying. I did think she handled it kind of poorly, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, if A Wrinkle in Time isn't made for me, I didn't enjoy the film anyway. But I'm not going to sit there and lose my shit over it. I'm not going to sit there and like freak out over it. But that was just what worked for them. It was literally everything. Like, she looked at Chris Hemsworth the wrong way, and like Mecha Random did a video on it. There was a video I covered of Mecha Random when she told she was covering, it was the Endgame press junkets, and Brie Larson said something, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you just shut your mouth and suck a dick?"
Wow.
And I'm like, take your own advice. Shit. You know, like the fuck are you, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Like on this shit. Like that's how mean spirited she got over it. Cause Mecha Random's a very evil person in my opinion. Yeah. Did you ever hear she threatened to sue me?
No, but I did. I had somebody suggest that Jeremy should sue me in my comments earlier.
Oh man. They love to threaten litigious action. I don't know.
But remember, they hate cancel culture and silence people.
They don't like censorship, but I'm gonna sue you for saying a mean thing.
Oh yeah. Well, what's really funny though is with Mecha Random, what it was is back in it all goes back to Black Panther actually. In the fall of 2018, she was on with Midnight's Edge and she was talking about the movie. She was trashing Black Panther, and then she admitted that she never watched the movie. So I gave her shit for it. And then she had threatened, it came up again on Twitter, and it caused a bit of a stir where like I had people from Midnight's Edge and the Fandom Menace trying to call me a sexist because I criticized her inability to watch a movie before critiquing it. And she admitted that she didn't watch the movie, but she watched a Mahler video on the movie.
Oh my God.
Because, you know, that's salient criticism.
Well, I mean, it's objective, dude. He's objective. No, I'm sorry, I'm being sarcastic, but that's how they frame it, like that they're objectively reviewing things. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. But that's how she based her opinion of the movie was off of this guy. So obviously, you know, whatever. But so then on another live stream, she had threatened to sue me for libel, basically.
Wow.
And someone told me this during the live stream, and I went and I found the clip and I made a video about it, laughing about it. And then like the next day she was like tagging the FBI and like on Twitter and like talking about getting a restraining order against me and all this shit. And that was actually one of the first things that caused, it was so embarrassing for Midnight's Edge and everything else that actually that was kind of what caused her rift with them in the first place.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of times they get really mad because I'm somehow involved in shit, like it gets under their skin. And it's really funny because it's like, fuck these people.
You know, Max was talking about this earlier when I was on with him. And he mentioned how he likes how you and I, specifically Jarbo, are able to really get under their skin to where they just like melt down. And I was like, I told him I think that the reason is, you know, not to disparage the way Max does things, because there's value in how he's really up in the minutia and the day to day of how these, you know, the bickering between all these people and stuff. I don't have the patience for it. I feel like what you and I do to a similar extent is kind of take more of a long view approach.
Yeah.
You know, like we step back and kind of observe and analyze, and then we, you know, lay out the broad picture of how they operate and stuff. And that they really, really don't like that because that can cut right into their bottom line. So,
well, what I've realized essentially is that, look, with these guys, their game is obviously YouTube, and piercing that is going to be very difficult because so many people are indoctrinated by the bullshit. And if you listen to the word salad that Jeremy tends to elicit on a constant basis, it's just like that screed about RJ's comment made no sense. It just made absolutely no sense. Talking about the Eternals getting banned in a country because of two guys having a 5-second kiss.
Yeah. Well, the thing that baffled me too is that he's going on about the cherry picking thing, and we created the rules, insinuate I'm part of that as well. That's like, all I said was, instead of ranting and getting pissed off at the stream itself, why don't you have a conversation with Dane? Actually, you know, that'd probably be beneficial for you more so, because you could be like, oh, I'm going to own this guy on my stream, whatever his standpoint would be, right? Like, that's all I said. I said in the nicest way possible. I was very polite about it. He just goes off and he's like a barking chihuahua.
But he has to do that though. It's all posturing, right? Yeah. He's trying to elicit big dick energy that he doesn't have. I'll punch back twice as hard. What the fuck does that even mean, Jeremy? Are you going to make a video? He's already made a couple on me. Right? I made a meme. I put him on Glass Joe from fucking Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I called him Glass Jaw Jeremy. You know, and like I've when he admitted that they were running a grift on the Rise of Skywalker, like I you know, made a thumbnail of him, and I put like the was it the fucking Phantom of the Opera, like the, you know, like broken mask, like the mask finally comes off. Like, again, just little joking jabs at them, and they can't handle it. Like, and this is all of them, as you know, Ethan, how bad Ethan Van Sciver is. I mean, my God.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and that's like, I mean, that dude, fuck me, that guy, Jesus. I don't understand how the hell you handle. I can't look at Ethan Van Sciver. I just feel like I lose brain cells. And then, you know, that's that. But hold on here. I do want to get the super chat here from McLeod. Says, what's boggling to me is people who are POC / LGBTQ plus who actually agree with these shitbags or defend crotchety old anti-PC types like Dave Chappelle. I mean, I
throw Dave Chappelle in that group. I mean,
I think Chappelle on that issue, that's a whole other thing. I don't want to dive into that topic right now, but I do agree with RJ. I don't think our Dave Chappelle necessarily falls into that overall category. I mean, you're talking about tokenism and the fact that, you know, like they hide behind it with the fandom menace. They'll go, oh, we have, you know, like I think Max makes a great joke about this on Friday Night Tights. They have X-Ray Girl. Well, X-Ray Girl never fucking talks. So, but they use her, they trot her out and they stand her up. We have an Asian woman.
Well, Lyndon Hall literally did that today, and he was like, well, we have black people who did like Black Panther. Okay. Right. So,
yeah. As somebody pointed out to me, I wish I would have thought about it. My buddy Perp said, you should have said, asked him if he'd seen Django Unchained, and you know, asked him if what's his name, Samuel L. Jackson's character, was is Calvin Candy not a racist because Samuel L. Jackson was his head guy in the house? You know what I mean? Like,
I know. Yeah, I've heard that argument before as well. And no, he still was. I mean, like,
right.
It doesn't change anything. But yeah, it's obviously, trying to argue where they are. Like, what I'm waiting for is these guys to attack the wrong fandom. I don't know which fandom that's going to be, but like, there's going to be a fandom out there that's going to be way more vocal than these guys are.
Did you see where Van Sciver got fucking dunked on by the Snyder fans a couple of weeks ago?
He did,
no.
Yeah,
oh God, Snyder fans are vocal as fuck.
Oh, dude, it was pretty incredible. I actually, if you want to watch just the brief coverage I did of it, I can find the link.
Yeah. Definitely. Let me know. Set it up. We'll do it. Oh, is it Rishi here says, never forget when heel versus babyface said that Critical Drinker was the modern day Barry Norman.
Did he really say that?
I'm assuming. I can't stand heel versus babyface. I find Az to be, just
I literally wanted to
can't do it.
I literally wanted to put a bullet in my goddamn head watching his Hawkeye trailer reaction. He was like moaning, going, I could be watching The Witcher. I hate this so much. Please stop. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like
then
an
don't watch the
overreaction.
trailer.
Yeah, right. It's like,
I'll watch it. I'll watch it on your behalf. I watched it like 8 times. I'll watch it on your behalf. I have no problem with that. Right. See, that's the whole point. That's what's going to suck about Hawkeye. Hawkeye looks amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And as soon as it comes out, all of these people who have claimed to cancel their Disney Plus subscription are going to magically be able to watch it.
Bishop.
Yeah. It's woke. Hawkeye is woke.
Even though Kate Bishop's been around since like the early 2000s, before that woke, all new, all different era of Marvel, even though it's an origin story and she's just as valid of a character, they've always been partners and equals, yada, yada, yada.
Well, just imagine about that. Oh, just imagine how it's going to be with Echo. Right? Like, weren't they talking about, and I think Dane was going on with Lyndon about this, and they're talking about Makari being deaf, right? Like, why is she deaf? I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Deaf character too.
Echo's a deaf character as well. Like, and they got a deaf actress to play her. So is that going to be?
And in the show, she's also, and in real life, the actress who plays Echo's amputee as well.
So really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's also Native American as well.
Yeah. So I mean, like they're checking all the fucking boxes. For people who want comic accurate representation. And again, there was a line there with Dane and Lyndon that was great when he was asking Lyndon to say, hey, which movies were comic accurate? And because that's a very hard, most movies aren't comic accurate. I think someone had mentioned when I heard Dane originally ask it to the chat, my first thought was Sin City, because I felt, with Frank Miller being directly involved in that, it probably was the most aesthetically connected. But otherwise, I mean, again, the subject of Watchmen came up where, visually it was similar, aesthetically it was changed, and I feel it was changed for the better.
Yeah, it changed the entire third act as well.
Yeah, and I think it works out better for what they were trying to accomplish. And then of course the Watchmen show retconned that a little, because that was based on the comics, and the Watchmen show was fantastic.
Yep.
But they attacked that too. They kept saying that all the time. They were like, "Oh, it's tanking week to week. No one's watching it," when it was blowing up HBO.
Right. It was critically praised. My biggest video was about Watchmen. It's still by far my most viewed video. That show. But I put it in chat. Or would you rather me share it? Or
no, I got it. I got it right here.
It's set to the time. So
yeah, let me just quickly refresh that. Sometimes there's trouble loading. There we go. All right. Yeah, though they attack. If it's a woman, they attack it. It's super crazy, know?
Well, I mean, it's just I keep saying, it's whatever arbitrary, goalpost or metric that they can just throw out. So for example, they often say that the Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't mean anything. Right. But then a movie comes out like Eternals, where the Rotten Tomatoes score is actually low. And of course, they're going to trumpet that. And it just there's no standard. There's no consistency. It's just whatever they can latch onto that serves their narrative purposes. It's fucking sad.
Yeah. Well, then real quick here, Command Unit here says Ant-Man had a Russian, Black, and Hispanic characters, but all 3 were criminals. Also, ETA on the Major Grum watch party. I got to figure out this. I know this week's busy for me. Then the next week is Thanksgiving. Probably won't be till after that. just because I have a wedding this week and also a digital funeral to attend, which is unfortunate. It's like the funeral and then the next day is the wedding. So it's kind of going to be a very odd emotional week. And then of course, Thanksgiving week being after. Maybe Thanksgiving week because everything will be kind of shut down. I don't know yet. We'll pencil in a time to watch it. It's a comic book, a graphic novel adaptation out of Russia called Major Grom Plague Doctor. And Command Unit's been trying to get me to watch it for like months. So should be a fun one. But all right. How long is this?
Just a couple of minutes. I mean, the video is really long, but this segment's just a couple of minutes.
All right, cool.
He made this announcement on Van Sciver's hate stream, signaling to the scam artist / cult leader that he's ready to make that easy hate cash. Starting to sense a pattern here. Speaking of the failed former pro comics artist Ethan Van Sciver and Comicsgate were featured on The Daily Wire, one of the most watched conservative networks. This should put to bed any fears that my discussing Comicsgate is somehow keeping them relevant. But Van Sciver got a little too big for his britches. When Warner Brothers storyboard artist Jay Oliva dunked on Ethan on Twitter, Ethan turned into an entire soy farm. Somehow he thinks that it's okay for him to build his career on talking shit on other professionals, but when one of them does it to him, oh boy, he's gonna have a meltdown.
Well, now you're gonna get it, motherfucker. That's right. You and me, right now. We're having it out. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
This caused a clash between the Snyder Bros and the EVS cultists. Here you'll see some reactions to Van Sciver's hypocrisy. It's fucking delicious. That's your news flash for now. Let's get into the Flat Scan Review, Episode 2. Yeah, that's it. This is a huge episode, and it's a pretty special one. So,
yes, the Baby Yoda Joker. I love that.
No, I love it because those guys, every time they get clap back on it, but they find a way. They definitely find a way to make it.
Well, that carbon clip is the encapsulation of like most of these people, to be honest. Give a little slap in the face, and they get all crybaby,
Yeah, I mean, I could basically redo that with me and Jeremy.
Well, let's see. I got sent a clip here. Apparently, I think it's that Barry Norman comment. That was being made by heel versus babyface. Let's see. All right. This is from Friday Night Tights. So you can see all,
Why
what the fuck is
Chris Gore there, man?
Chris Gore is a conservative dude. Like, if you look at his tweets,
he's so cool, man. Why is he hanging out with these guys?
Because he got, a lot of, look at Robert Meyer Burnett. They just want attention. Chris Gore also hates Hollywood. You have to understand.
It's that lady that was doing Grace Randall.
Yeah, Chrissy Mayer. Yeah, she's a right-wing comedian, and I'm air quoting comedian.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole point, though, is just Chris Gore hates Hollywood. Some of his biggest content is actually not even on his own channel. He was on a channel called Film Courage, who they actually interviewed me back in 2010.
Oh yeah, I know that channel.
Yeah. I knew them when they had like no one on their. Now they're blowing up and stuff. Good for them.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how like Hollywood hates sequels and shit like that, or how they fuck all this shit up, and those videos blew up. They did
blow up, and you know what's. This might be hot. Some of it I kind of agree with. Some of the stuff you're saying sounded kind of semi-intelligent, but then I'm just like, why are you hanging out with these guys, man? Please.
It comes off to me as like more polished and veiled anti-SJW content, basically. Like not using the exact same obvious terms, but in the same way that Mahler will often, criticize a movie, but he won't always use the same talking points, but he's always has the same negative opinions about the same stuff as the open anti-SJWs. I feel like it's kind of like that. Like it's just a more crypto version of the same shit.
Yeah, and I understand that. As a former anti-SJW myself, like I really hated a lot of like the like I liked analyzing what they were doing and then being critical of the left. And as a progressive lefty myself, I'm still very critical of the left. But it's like, but I really hate this shit because there's not criticism. It's just like
right.
It's just attack for for wokey points. But let's take a quick look here at this little clip here just to get an idea.
Gone out on one because nobody, I don't think, at the moment can critique a film or a TV series like Drink a Can. He's the modern day Barry Norman. He's the modern day whatever an American fucking weirdo is. He's the modern day person that you could go, no, I've got a drinker because I think he speaks sense. He can truly break down a TV show or a movie.
How many people
gone out on one? Because nobody. I don't.
That's okay.
That was certainly a take.
That's a take. That is a take. What I'm curious, like, he's so impassioned about it. Like, why do you need someone else that can break things down for you?
I don't. Well, you know what it is I really feel, and this is just coming off of my experience from like having gone to film school, having written screenplays, worked on, not like anything major production wise, but done various jobs in film. A lot of these guys, they don't know anything about story structure, anything about how movies are made, why they're made. They don't understand the terminology. If you were to go to them and go, oh, this is made because of, this is really a 4-quadrant release, they'd be like, I don't know what that means. Or they try to fake it till they make it. But no, there's elements at this wire thing, like Cameron Pasha goes out there and he says shit like, Kevin Feige is the one who pressured Scarlett Johansson into suing Bob Chapek. But if you read the Atlantic article about why that whole thing happened, you find out that Scarlett's representatives were the ones calling up Chapek, and Chapek was blowing them off. And they're like, wait a minute, hold on, we just want to talk to you. And he wouldn't take their calls. He treated them like they were beneath him. So her representation, who would have gotten a cut out of that $100 million that they were hoping to get from the box office, they want their cut. They filed a lawsuit or a civil suit. And then they ended up, the backlash was so negative against Chapek. Chapek caved and settled, and everything was fine. It wasn't personal. None of this is this is the thing people don't get to about how they sue each other all the time. Didn't like Todd Phillips sue Warner Brothers over the profits to Joker? And
I'm not sure.
They might have.
I'm sorry. He did. No, maybe it was Hangover. He sued Warner Brothers over profits to something. And he's still working with fucking Warner Brothers. So none of this shit is personal. It's all fucking business. The thing is, though, is these idiots, they have to make it personal. They have to make it like that because that is how they feed. I'm sorry, say that again, Caden?
It was War Dogs.
Oh, it was the movie no one saw?
Right.
The best thing to come out of War Dogs was Joker. But no, really, it's like the thing is, but these guys have to maintain that level of feelings, emotion, because that is how the right wing operates. It's all through emotion.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate.
They can't have you just analyzing things based on, the technical aspects and the minutia of how the Hollywood industry or the comics industry works or anything like that. It all they have to pit something against something else. There always has to be, some battle between this person and this person. And, one of them is in the right, one of them is in the wrong. There's never any nuance in between. Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I mean, just supporting what you're saying. You're absolutely right.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, so we got this, Darth Elsa with $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, you'd think Jeremy would have learned his lesson about woke when he was forced to admit he knew nothing about Dune before trash talking it. Well, I mean, the occasional learning of lesson isn't going to be his audience. The best thing would be like, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm not saying this, I'm not in any way recommending it, but realistically, like if people were to bombard his comment section with "you were wrong to ratio him" in the comment section, because since the dislike button is going away, that's no longer an option, and it's one that I've been very vocal about my support of it going away.
Me too.
But it's like, but still, commenting is using your voice. Making videos is using your voice. I think a lot of people at this point are now starting to realize that the fandom menace is not something to fear. But there was a big thing for a while where people just didn't want to speak out against them because they didn't want the backlash. They didn't want the constant harassment that would come out of that.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing now is Jeremy, whenever he's backed into a corner, will do what he did today. He'll run a live stream. He'll cry about it. He'll cope. He'll seethe, and he'll collect those $50 super chats because that's all those people are to him, are just a fucking piggy bank.
Yep. Piggies to squeeze. Yeah. It's, it's pretty messed up. It's, yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of another super chat here, But unrelated to what we're talking about, Jacob McKenzie was asking why people call Doctor Strange 2 Justice League. I think we talked about this the other night.
People are reacting to that report.
They're overreacting to the reshoots. Again, it's not Justice League 2.0. You know, they're not changing directors. They're not changing writers. They're just punching up the story and getting actors who were previously barred via COVID to now actually be able to come and shoot some stuff.
Oh, so they're just doing like your typical reshoots that a lot of movies do. Gotcha.
Yes.
I remember, this has been a thing
extended.
that they bring up every, pretty much anytime something does reshoots, they like to bring up as if it's like proof that the film's just a mess and it's going to be terrible. And I remember Rogue One was a big one that was talked about a lot.
Yeah. Never mind. Tony Gilroy saved the movie in the end.
Yeah.
And which is why Gareth Edwards is not doing the Andor show and Tony Gilroy is. Still wondering why we didn't get a fucking trailer yesterday. Bastards.
Yeah.
We got a behind the scenes reel last year and nothing this year.
That was, I know, right? Well, there still might be a Disney Investor Day here.
Yeah.
Rational Skeptic says, Matt, you proved Jeremy wrong so many times. Why he won't admit he's wrong and just apologize to you? I mean, come on.
Then I'll show that he's to them a pussy, but he,
well,
he has a big, so
yeah.
On a basic level, it's because, and I keep trying to reiterate this to people, my audience is like, there's a difference between dealing with somebody like Jeremy or Ethan Van Sciver and dealing with someone like Lyndon, who clearly just, he's not incentivized financially to aggressively back up his positions. That's why he fucking, just collapsed under questioning last night. Because apparently he's a volunteer and doesn't even get paid for the shit he writes on the website. But, like somebody like Jeremy or Ethan, they are highly incentivized financially to maintain their narrative, like in spite of whatever facts you slap them with. So
now,
yeah,
do you think that the reason why Jeremy freaked out as much as he did today would have to do with the fact that like Lyndon just completely, like, I don't want to say misrepresented the brand, but absolutely just like made it look like a laughingstock?
I think that probably feeds into it. Sure. I mean, I also think just the cynical aspect that he's using it as outrage content because that's what they do. And he saw an opportunity. So it's kind of like he took this thing that definitely probably really upset him to see Lyndon just fail on that level that he did. But he decided to turn it into a positive and, make some outrage content, get his base riled up and get some super chats and shit. So
now, have you seen like any, has there been like a lot of attacks on you on Twitter or people coming to the video to bombard it?
Yeah, I mean, that happens to me all the time. It's just, I was going to say a minute ago when you were talking about the dislikes and I'm fully with you. I mentioned it on stream, yesterday that I'm completely supportive of this. And one of the reasons is, since I've been doing this for 2 years, I've had probably half a dozen or more people that are like wanting to start their own channel or just started their own little channel to talk comics or whatever. And they, they're not even addressing Comicsgate or anything directly, but they just want to talk about their indie comics and that maybe they're queer or something like that. And they ask me, how do I avoid them coming after me? Because like I make a video and before I even get anybody that likes it, I've got these people mass downvoting my video and it's really discouraging and shit. And, and it's hard, but I've had to tell them, you can't get them to stop. You have to keep going. You just have to keep going. That's because I knew that when I started out, that like, until I build an audience, it's just going to be really bad for me as far as like my stats and everything, because I'd watched them do it to other channels. So yeah. And it's discouraging when you open up your analytics and you see that this new video you worked hard on, maybe has like a dozen likes, but then some chuds found it. And now it's got, 45 dislikes. And when you're just starting out, that's pretty fucking discouraging. And, luckily I planned for it and expected it to happen, but I feel legit bad for these people that just want to make some content and, feel like they're being misrepresented because they're being mass downvoted. So.
Well, that happens. I mean, like when I had my fallout a couple of years ago when I was canceled, so to speak, there was a guy with like, people were coordinating attacks on my channel. And there was upwards at one point where each of my videos is getting about like 7,000 dislikes. You know, and then
that's kind of like a almost turns around into a positive again. But yeah,
no,
no,
not when you look at the average view duration, which is what ultimately hurts a channel.
Right.
So it's like, and here's the funny thing too, is like doing the live streams, you know, like right now we got 140 people watching, which is fucking awesome. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for hanging out with us at midnight on a Saturday.
Hell yeah.
And you got that, but it's like the amount of view time, you know, this could be somewhere, you know, like 300, 400 hours worth of watch time, right? But none of that actually matters on the back end while the video is live or while you are doing the live stream. All the hours accrues once it becomes a VOD.
Oh,
which is really weird because if you're a new channel and you have to hit that 4,000 hour mark, that doesn't apply if you're doing live streams. And the same with shorts. Shorts actually do not add to your overall watch time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very weird how they're doing all that stuff now. But that's going to be, you know, that's going to be really where we, you know, just kind of the YouTube itself is a very odd place in general. But I guess my question is like, do you think that we're going to get to a point where people, I mean, I know, you know, like right wingers criticizing media is nothing new. But do you think that people might eventually like just like wake up and start just kind of telling them no?
I hope so. You know what I mean? Like I like to think that over enough time, with, you know, like one of the things that I hope that I'm doing with my channel is inspiring people to, like you were saying, not be scared of this shit, and, you know, not be scared to say what they think. And, you know, because I can't tell you how many people I get telling me like, I'm so glad I found a channel that's actually pushing back against this stuff. And so I like to think that if, you know, I'm not going to do it on my own or anything, but if enough people start doing it, and like we're doing now, we form a community together and we start, you know, cross-pollinating our communities and everything, that, yeah, eventually it might start chipping away, as well as like the YouTube changing its ad policies and wiping channels and videos that say super fucked up stuff. I like to think that over time those elements together would make a difference.
I agree with you. I would love to see it. My fear is just because of the way that these, you know, the machine learning technology, all of these social media apps rely on are all emotion driven. And, you know, when it comes to YouTube, for example, their AI can actually determine the tone of voice. It can determine how excited you are, how angry you are. It can determine the level of insults that you use, you know, because if you go and you self-report a video, right, when you're going to submit it for monetization, have you noticed like it will ask you, oh, do you say these words in the first 30 seconds?
Yeah.
It's because it's because they can tell. They can determine if I'm insulting someone. They can determine almost like who it is and the severity of the insult, you know, and like the AI will pick up on that one, and the AI will do all of this stuff to you know, to kind of figure it all out. So it's like, I mean, it's crazy when you think about how all that stuff is, and how these algorithms are really like feeding these echo chambers, you know, and that's, and a lot of it too boils down to how YouTube also does a lot of the recommendations. So for example, each device you watch YouTube on, whether it's your PC, television, smartphone, laptop, whatever, it creates a different profile for your account depending on what you watch and where. So if you're at home and you have it on your TV and you don't, let's say, watch anything that's like Geeks and Gamer content, right? It's something that's like, let's say Cocomelon for your kids or some shit. You're not going to really see Geeks and Gamers content on that TV. But if you watch it on your phone, that's what's going to be recommended to you. And that's how it works out. It's very weird. That's what they do, but they do it like that. So it's because multiple people use one account. And but I've always found that to be kind of an odd thing where it's like, I think they watch how much engagement you have. And since more and more and more people watch on their phones or their mobile devices, that's where they're going to be pushing you more of the stuff versus what you would watch on your TV or whatever. Because you can't directly interact on the television. You know, you can give a like or a dislike, I think, but you can't comment. You know,
yeah, you can't comment.
Yeah, you're watching a live stream. You can now read the chat in the live stream, but you can't comment on it yourself. So, it's limited in regards to what you're able to do engagement wise, but it's just a weird thing. It's like, I don't know. I mean, and the thing is, like, we're talking to Lyndon and he's all, oh, the algorithm. I'm like, for one, that's a weak ass talking point, but it's their only talking point.
Somebody on Twitter responded to that clip and was like, they in a German kind of accent, they typed out, "We just did it for the algorithm," like we're just following orders. But
yeah, I know. I've heard that too. They no, they absolutely do it just for the they do it just because they go, oh, but isn't the job of YouTube to get views? And then at that point, you have to ask them really, like, so does that mean nothing you say matters?
Right. How can anybody take you seriously or think you're sincere about anything if your main priority or even only priority is getting clicks?
But part of the problem I'll say to that though is, like, I read a lot of books on YouTube. I do watch a few of those, like, YouTube guru channels just to kind of see where things are with, like, updates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I get, I'm on a mailing list for one of them, and I get emails, fucking like 3 times a week or whatever. And it's just like, how to get your first 1,000 subs. I'm like, I'm not the target demographic for this there, buddy. But I've clicked on it occasionally, and it's basically, they all say the same thing. If something gets you views, keep fucking doing it. And that is how, like, if something is trending, comment on it and join the trend. They are literally, the algorithm is literally teaching you to be a sheep.
Yeah.
Like literally teaching you to be a sheep. And I think after a while that becomes part of the problem. That becomes like, again, how much of our dopamine hits come from people responding on social media? They've proven that time and time again that if we get a comment, it will light up our brain.
Yep.
And so it creates this very dark environment that I think over the span of the last 3 years, people like Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers and even Ryan Kendall, they used to never be as bad. They had shitty opinions, but it was never as bad. But then as time went on, they realized that they had to keep, amping it up and amping it up and amping it up.
It's like a heroin addiction or something. Like it's not doing the same thing. You gotta ramp it up every once in a while.
Yeah.
You're not
well, and eventually, and I've said this before, and I stand by this. At what point is somebody from Geeks and Gamers going to grab a gun and go to Lucasfilm and try to kill Kathleen Kennedy? Now, that is a speculation. That is a hypothetical. In no way am I thinking anyone is actually going to do that. But the reason why I bring it up has everything to do with February 2018, when that woman drove from San Diego to Marin County, went to YouTube's headquarters and shot 3 people before killing herself. All because YouTube had changed the monetization status, their program. And she did not like that. And she went there. And then after that, there was another guy who was caught who had mental health issues. His wife reported him. They found him sleeping in his car. He had a gun, and guess where he was going? YouTube's headquarters.
Yeah, I mean, when you spend, there's a lot of people that spend, most of their waking hours like consuming this shit and just keeping, activating that dopamine, and it's also like activating their anger response at the same time. It's kind of bizarre, I guess, but like, if you just pump yourself full of that shit for X amount of time on a long enough timeline with a large enough number of people consuming it, it's almost inevitable. Honestly. And like, like you said, I hope that nothing like that happens. I sincerely do. Even if I disagree with choices Kathleen Kennedy has made, I don't want the lady to, anything to happen to her or anybody else. But if it did happen a month from now, a year from now, I wouldn't be also all that surprised.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I know people will give me shit for saying that. You're going to say that they're going to shoot. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm saying, like, when you have people like Doomcock, and this does get amplified and echoed by even like the Friday Night Tights crowd, and they're talking about the culture, and they say, like, it's all about the culture. They don't really say culture war because that's a buzzword, but they'll use the term culture, and they'll say our culture is being impeded on, our culture is being taken away, our culture is being destroyed, and all of a sudden you're kind of, in the back of your mind, I'm hearing like jackboots marching in unison.
Yeah, that's like, isn't that kind of sounds like part of the 14 words thing, right? We must preserve our culture or whatever. Yeah.
Oh man. I I got paid once $50 to say that on a live stream.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was laughing the whole time. I don't believe it one goddamn bit. Period. But it was like it was edgy 2018 shit, way back in the day.
Jesus.
Yeah. I think it happened more than once. People were literally just like doing it for shits and grins. They wanted to embarrass me. Anyway, it's just like, again, that kind of crap. But again, that kind of humor is not something I would do now. And obviously it's like, but that kind of humor does have a bit of a problem. It's normalizing it.
Right.
Even laughing at it. Like, and I'm not thinking about it because I'm getting the dopamine hits from the $50, like, cause this was my job and they're helping me pay my bills. And so you kind of think of it like that perspective. And, and being self-reflective on it obviously is important. And the whole aspect though is like, again, all of these guys, they keep saying the same thing. They talk about the culture. They talk about all this stuff. Doomcock, that's every video that he has is like that. His tagline is stay angry. And you can just see, like, you look at January 6th and you're like, I could see that happening at Star Wars Celebration. I could see something like that happening at a Comic-Con. I could see something like that.
Say. It was and I'm like, it's something where you can see something that has happened in real life can happen again, but with a different motive.
I honestly don't want to even think. Yeah, I honestly
like,
don't want to think about it because like it's so scary to imagine something that can happen.
It's like, oh snap, like this can happen because this.
That made me think. I'm actually curious now. There's probably no way to ever know this, but like I'm curious how many of those January 6th people, also consume this type of content.
Oh yeah.
I would assume quite a few.
Yeah.
I would assume quite a few if we were to find out more. I mean, that might be released through some study down the road. That might be, just looking at, because there was an article put out showing like a network of alt-right. I forget who the fuck it was. God damn it.
Was this the one a couple of years ago?
Yeah. Because I'm on it. Right. I'm on it. Yeah. Because I was on like one live stream. And everything else. It was from the beginning of 2017 to like halfway through 2018 or some shit. And the whole thing is it's a skewed article, or a skewed study, I should say, because they don't take into account a number of factors that happened.
Right.
But they created this, this diagram of all of us who were connected. The thing is, like, I know like all these fucking people, and I've like hung out with them like at VidCon and shit. And they're not bad. They're not all bad. Some are, but like, but the thing is that was used as a way to kind of like, showcase this like pathway to like radicalism.
Yeah.
And then you look at like, let's say someone like Sargon of Akkad. I've known Carl since he had 11,000 subs, and Carl and I were buds for years. And then you started to see him progressively go and get angrier and angrier and angrier and push harder and harder and harder, to the point of, when he was on Joe Rogan, back in 2017, this was right after the VidCon Anita Sarkeesian event had taken place. And he was trying to like complain about Anita Sarkeesian to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan didn't give a shit. But you fast forward literally a year and some change. This is like, Trump is now in office. This is fall of 2018. Steve Bannon gets ousted from the White House. Where does Steve Bannon go? Well, Steve Bannon went to the UK because he was trying to get, trying to raise, trying to get political power in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to Sargon of Akkad. They do an interview together. And then right after that interview, Sargon's like, you know what we need? We need to get Mundane Matt, me, on Tucker Carlson to explain Gamergate to the normies.
Wow.
Because like I was telling you beforehand, like there's a nuance to it. In the early days, that was not what people associated with. And that's more or less what he was trying. And at the time I was like, fuck it. I would go on Tucker Carlson and say that, because it's like, that would be my truth about the early days of it. And then Carl Sargon ran for office. He ran for office with UKIP.
Yeah.
And it was
failed miserably.
Tanked the party.
Yeah, he basically killed it.
Oh no, it did kill it. I mean, like, and then his political career is dead because he tried playing Trumpian tactics. He had made a joke, and he refused to apologize for the joke, and he kept doubling down on it and doubling down. And the way that the media smeared him over it, and in many cases rightfully so.
Well, I mean, wasn't it like a rape joke?
It
like
wasn't. Well, that's the whole point. Though all he said was, even I wouldn't rape you. That's what he was referring. That's what he said. That's all he said. And she inferred that that was a rape joke. It was actually an anti-rape joke. He was saying like, no, you're so ugly, I wouldn't rape you.
I mean, I don't know, like, because you know, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here,
Yeah,
not to split hairs, but like the language of even I wouldn't rape you kind of implies that he's a rapist.
It was,
you know, like even I implies like, and I rape people all the time, and I wouldn't rape you.
No, that's very true, and he could have explained it better. I think because I know him, I know what he was going for.
Yeah, I get it.
And so maybe like there's that bias right there, and I'll admit that, but like I know what he was trying to say. But again, the media ran with it and he didn't try to explain it. He just kept doubling down. And then ultimately like lost, the election and crippled the political party. I mean, Nigel Farage, who had retired from UKIP, came back, started the Brexit party and ended up winning 7 seats. Like literally in 2 months because of how badly shit was going with Sargon. That is a documentary all in and of itself. But that's kind of the whole point. That's the kind of radicalization I'm talking about here. That is what Bannon was up to. And the same kind of people like that would put Alex Jones on their live stream to run unabated for an hour, like he was putting on an InfoWars presentation, complete with having, queuing up his camera guy to go to the overhead camera. Did you catch that? It wasn't an impromptu chat. When they were talking with Alex Jones, he was just coming off of InfoWars. He had already done a broadcast earlier, like just finished a broadcast. Still had all of his work, his paperwork out there. And then he was sitting there talking to them from the desk and then had his camera guy cut to camera number 2, which is the overhead shot showing the papers that are there while trying to pull up like this study about why the vaccines are shit, So it's like, that's the whole point is like Alex Jones played them in order to get to a new audience of people. They reaped the benefits of that. But who knows what the ripple of radicalization from that particular live stream, which is within the first, I think 8 hours had like 130,000 views. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the whole point is like, it's the no
that whole
pushback
stream like 6 hours or something like that.
Yeah. But Jones is only there for like an hour. I think it was like 4 hours, but he was only there for like an hour.
Yeah, he's only there for like an hour and a half.
So, I mean, like that's kind of the whole point in my mind, at least is like, they by not pushing back, by not questioning any of it, it's like, there's this new video that came out a couple days ago. It's from Chris Webby. It's called like Raw Thoughts 5. Have you heard that?
No.
Oh, like I was checking Jeremy's Twitter today and I saw that he retweeted it and I watched it and it's one of the cringiest fucking things I've ever seen. Like it's a white dude rapping about being anti-vax.
Oh God.
And all of this shit and like how like the Biden administration wants us all to heal, but like HEEL, like put us in chains and shit. It's like, oh my fucking God.
The fuck?
It is. I honestly equivocated it to the, magnets. How do they work? Like that's how bad it was.
Oh geez.
So, I mean, it's like, but again, like they're, putting this stuff out there and that disinformation, like I have a cousin of mine, honest to God, probably the most intelligent guy I've ever met. My cousin is so smart. I made a comment on Facebook about, hey, get vaccinated. And he's all like, no, you're wrong about that. No evidence, no backing up of this. And this guy's a very technical dude. And what it is he's living back with my uncle. My uncle is like full on Tea Party QAnon type. So I have a feeling that my cousin, my younger cousin, he's been getting bombarded with all of that rhetoric that I think deep down he knows is bullshit, but that is the programming that he's been exposed to on a constant basis. It's all the feedback loop. Anyway.
Yeah, it really distorts the perspective, and the hard thing about it is, like I mentioned the feedback loop and the echo chamber to Lyndon in my chat with him, and then I got a couple of comments that are like, well, you're in an echo chamber too, and it's difficult to counter that, at least off the top of my head, because it's like, well, yeah, everybody is in an echo chamber to an extent, but I mean, certain pockets of information sources are more fact-based than others. You know what I mean? So like being in an echo chamber that involves actual science and data and studies and things like that is different than being in an echo chamber that is literally designed to get you upset and outraged and giving hollow criticisms of things just to piss you off and get you to open your wallet. It's two different types of echo chambers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, look, we all do this, you know, for money. I make, you know, half my living on live streams and donations. So if you guys want to help out, that'd be fantastic. That I'm being honest, but I also try to provide nuanced takes on things. I try to do my research and provide a fun time. I mean, you know, just last, you know, I mean, RJ knows, he's here all the time. Same with Caden. I make terrible, horrible jokes like every night.
Yes,
like,
yes, you do,
especially like last night.
Yes. I'll probably get there as I get more comfortable streaming, but I really just started streaming regularly. So, you know, I know I've got definitely got some terrible jokes in me. They happen all the time whenever, you know, in private with my friend. Or
just
whatever,
say them. You know what I like?
Jarbo just lets loose.
He does. I'm
not at Jarbo level yet. You know,
it's all good. It takes a little bit of time to get to my level of depravity, I guess. I'm a rather vanilla guy in general, but you know, my dad always said it best. He's like, son, you're like me. Our mind starts in the gutter and it works its way up.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's kind of how it operates. Like, I don't like to punch down on people. Well, sometimes, if I feel that it's needed, but anyway, I like to make a lot of like dumb, like sexual crude humor. That's kind of like more my jam.
Oh yeah. Well, I was talking earlier on a stream about how Avatar, it's not talked about enough that they use their ponytails to have sex in Avatar, but then he also used his ponytail to connect with the animals that he would ride. And it's like, is he fucking those animals?
I think, you know what, if Jake Sully was fucking those animals, like, you know what, like, I'm generally not for interspecies erotica. I don't want to see it, but like, I don't know the rules of Pandora. Like, I don't know what's going to fly. What does the elders of the giant tree have to say about Navi on Rhino fucking?
Listen,
what happens in Pandora stays in Pandora.
Yeah.
The Navi want to connect with nature. There's only one way to connect.
They want to really connect with
it. Oh yeah.
I thought you were about to say, Matt, I thought you were about to say, you know, if Jake Sully, you know, I don't want to see it, but they are some sexy animals or something like that.
Dude, fucking Zoe Saldana, I don't care. Like, I don't care. You know, I'm not saying like Avatar Rule 34 or nothing. Feel free to not look that up, I guess. You know, like,
it definitely exists,
but it's like, don't look up Zootopia Rule 34. Trust me.
Oh God,
that's a thing. Actually that was a joke for a while. Did you guys ever hear about that? People were putting out this meme saying that the animation in Zootopia was they had moved it up from the standard 24 frames a second to 34 frames a second to give it more of a hyper realistic look, and to Google Zootopia Rule 34 to learn more. And I'm like, oh my fuck.
No. Speaking of Zootopia, I'm gonna bring up something really fucking weird. Have you guys ever heard of the infamous Zootopia abortion comic?
No, please tell me.
So the comic came from DeviantArt. It depicts Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps in a relationship, and Nick Wilde abuses Judy Hopps, and there's like this whole arc about Judy wanting an abortion. Nick Wilde is anti-abortion, so they break up because of that. It's really fucking famous and so fucking bad. It's hilarious.
Wow. I mean, that reminds me of I'm trying to look at it. I try to look it up right here, but it's all
that Nick Wilde voiced by Jason Bateman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Seriously, look up the Zootopia abortion comic.
Well, you know, like the Zootopia thing, it's not for me, but I can kind of get it because like that, I don't know the names, but the rabbit chick, she's kind of hot. You know what I mean? Whereas
is Dana furry?
No, I'm just saying
like I'm just saying that her body, like her body type,
shaped like a sexy human woman. But then like there are people who are totally into like Pokemon, like they sexualize Pokemon, the most sexless, you know, genderless fucking amorphous creatures. Like, but there are people that fetishize them, and I find that pretty bizarre.
Well, there's also, I mean, like look at how many people sexualized Misty from back in Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
you know, like I mean, I had always heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I'd always heard that in the original anime that aired in Japan, like they would always like harass Misty and like grope her, you know, whatever.
I believe it.
And that they cut all that out for the American version of it. And I'm like, I have no idea. I've never seen it.
Well, it's like the same thing as the original Dragon Ball, before it was brought to America. It was like the first episode has Goku as a little kid, and he's like feeling up Bulma, and like he actually grabs her crotch while she's sleeping, and he's like, "No balls" or something like that. Yeah.
There's some weird shit back in the day. Okay.
The internet and the way the internet operates, it will always be weird. I mean, like I love diving into the lore of 4chan because some of the things that have come out of 4chan are some of the weirdest shit you will ever come across. And this is like glory days of 4chan, And I mean, have you guys ever heard of like the My Little Pony thing where the guy put a fleshlight in a Twilight Sparkle doll and then put bondage gear on her and then took photos and posted them?
Stop. No.
I used to know Pony Bro or whatever.
This isn't the same one where the guy like jizzed in a cup with the My Little Pony in it and then like saved it.
Oh, don't talk about the cum jar game, Jesus.
I just saw that on. I saw that on Wang.
Don't talk about the cum jar. Jesus.
The cum jar. That's the thing. I do stories like I do stories similar to Wang, not as crazy as him. I've been researching and podcasting about some storytelling, and I know Wang, and man, like some of those ones, like I've had to turn off, and I've got a pretty serious stomach. I can handle some shit, but
the glass jar guy.
Oh yeah, the cum box guy, or the guy who ate his own leg. Like that was fucked up, or like the broken arm story. Like there's a lot of weird fucked up shit that comes out of the internet. And again, like 4chan, like there's one, probably my all-time favorite one was a guy posts on B and he just goes, "Hey Anon, I'm in France. I'm flying back to the United States tomorrow. I stole this skull from the Paris Underground. How do I get it back to the United States?" And so the whole thread like devolved into like, okay, prove that it's you. And then while there are also people trying to argue like how, like maybe cover it in paper mache and like take it back fragile or whatever, and then like someone's like, take a picture of it with the timestamps. The guy did it. And then someone's all, fuck it. What? Like I fuck it, skull fuck it. And the dude did. And took pictures of him skull fucking like a 400. Just the fact that this guy took a skull that was 400 years old somewhat and like put his dick in it. Yeah. I'm just like, imagine being that person. And like, there's like all these old prophecies, like your prophecy, sir, shall be to die. And then your body be used as a phallic apparatus or some shit like that, like
now I don't want to die.
You will be weeping tears of cream.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
You'll be a Boston cream donut.
I'm just saying, here's the thing. I have no idea if the guy ever actually like made it back or not with that skull. But again, like, but just those things, how 4chan used to be, like, it was so wild. And I feel like it had some more purpose than it does now. Now it's just terrible. I mean, it's always been terrible. There's an old meme out of B. It's like, hey, remember when B was good? And then the response is always B was never good. But I mean, then you get stuff like the Something Awful, which is kind of a precursor to 4chan. Yeah. And did you hear about Lotax, Richard Kanaka? Fucking killed himself the other day. Like
I'm not aware who that is. So.
Oh, okay. So Something Awful, it's like, imagine like 4chan, Reddit, Something Awful. Those are kind of like your three main hubs for kind of edgelord humor on the internet.
Yeah. Something
Awful forums, they were called Goons. They actually at some point had a hand in some of the Gamergate stuff because they had the GNAA, which stood for the Gay N-Word Association of America. That was like their troll group.
Wow.
That came out of Something Awful. But like those guys were big back in early day internet meme culture. Like Slender Man originated on the Something Awful forums. And the guy who ran it, like he got, just to kind of tie it into movies, he criticized Uwe Boll, right? The director, notoriously terrible director. He criticized his movies, and when they were doing Postal, Boll set up a boxing match.
Oh, that was that guy?
That was him, yeah. So Lotax went and fought Uwe Boll.
And got his ass kicked.
Yeah, and I actually know Zach Ward, who was the actor, the lead actor in that movie. And I asked him once, I'm all like, "Hey man, was that shit real?" And he's like, 100% real. Like he's like, I was there in the audience. It was 100% real. Like, holy fuck. But that's the whole point. It's like, so, you know, the Something Awful thing was pretty big, not as notorious overall as 4chan, but again, it's like that dude just died. So that's a wild fucking situation. I mean, like, all I'm saying is like the earlier days of like where the internet was is so vastly different than where it is now. And it's like, when you tie that into like where fandom is, you know, and I fans have always been trying to find their place, but maybe because being a fan is so oversaturated, being a hater is what just kind of came out of that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think it goes back to, you were talking about Steve Bannon as well. And there's actually a book, and I have it. I've read maybe the first chapter or so, but it's called It Came From Something Awful. So I'm like vaguely aware of Something Awful, and I'd like to read that book and learn more about it. But like basically it talks about how, and this kind of speaks to what you and I somewhat disagree on, Matt, is that no, like Gamergate wasn't an explicitly fascist movement or anything like that, but there was a lot of attitudes and like, you know, just nihilism, I think, you know what I mean? Like the kind of people that would, you know.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that, because the GNAA, right? Those guys, what you have to understand is the FBI spent 2 years digging into Gamergate. 2 years. You can go to fbi.gov/Gamergate and download the report. And they spent 2 years investigating, and they found nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. Oh. And that was the whole point. So we have like Brianna Wu going on Sci-Fi and saying that Gamergate ruined my life and all this shit. And she actually starts talking about $1 Million Extreme. And that, again, not associated with Gamergate. Those guys are very nihilistic trolls. And then you look at like what the FBI found, which was nothing. And it becomes this major thing. Now, I'm not saying that there were elements of Gamergate that were shit, that were pure shit. But a lot of people in the beginning, what they wanted was ethics in games journalism. And really what that meant was, and I know that's a meme and people like to make fun of it, but it was literally true. I mean, the Society of Professional Journalists actually caught on to what Gamergate was talking about, and they agreed with them. They put on an event in Miami in August of 2015, a year after the whole thing started, called Airplay, where they actually wanted to talk about ethics in journalism. A lot of it had to do with cronyism and nepotism, and a lot of people not disclosing their connections with one another and not being ethical. That was actually a lot of it. But it then, because people weren't getting, you know, because like Kotaku was really like the key thing, I think you could say target of that. And the thing was like Kotaku never gave a shit because they were owned by Gawker. And Gawker's rule was like, fuck you, fuck off sort of thing.
Yeah.
And until the whole Hulk Hogan thing fucked them.
Right.
And so, you know, that was a lot of what it boiled down to, was people that were like, no, we just want you to write about video games. You know, like, you know, it's like, not to say don't turn it political, but it's like, don't be so disingenuous with it. That was a lot of it.
See, and I fully agree that from what I've seen, that is exactly how it began and everything. And that is valid, you know, criticism about the industry. I mean, you could apply that to pretty much any journalistic, any section of journalism. I took journalism in school, so like I'm aware of, you know, journalistic ethics and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of people aren't. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys who work today, they're bloggers. You know, like my background, I went to school for filmmaking. I took a journalism course. I didn't major in it. I wouldn't mind going back and like learning more. Like if we ever got, if the Build Back Better plan ever brought us, you know, like actual, like, you know, tuition-free education.
Yeah, but you know, honestly, I don't know that old school journalism is even a viable thing anymore.
It's not anymore. It's all opinion based.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what I'm doing here is we've been on for nearly 2 hours. We've gone as high as 140 people watching. We're at 133 people right now. This is fantastic. Thank you guys, by the way. And it's a lot of it is based around the opinion. I see, I know Rational here brings up NeoGAF and Dig. Oh, NeoGAF. Oh, NeoGAF. That's a whole other mess. And I liked Dig for when it was around. But Mladen here says, oh yeah. No, the U-Bowl thing. He says what he says here. He wants me to get to the, Matt is dragging this conversation because he doesn't want to admit defeat about Red Notice. No, we'll talk about Red Notice.
Everyone's like, move on, man, move on.
I know it's been an hour and 45. It's been a long one. Well, you know, I think, Dane, you and I should definitely have a long, absolute discussion about this one time. Because I think it'd be a lot of fun to really kind of go through the history of it. I actually did that a few months ago. Do you know who the Gamer from Mars is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he hit me up a while back and he's like, I'm doing a Gamergate documentary. Can I ask you questions about it? And we spent about 2 hours. going through the early days of everything. And so he hasn't put it out. It's been, I want to say, close to a year, maybe less.
He's still working on it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. This is a big endeavor. This is not like, there's what elements of the internet say, good and bad. And then there's what people who are there, boots on the ground, say, good or bad. And then there's somewhere in the middle is probably the truth. Yeah. And there's a lot, like a lot of people made really shitty jokes. I made shitty jokes. But ultimately it was really just about trying to push for not, taking people's jobs more seriously. And that was why even Total Biscuit got involved.
So what I'm trying to say though is that I fully support and agree with that. It's just I definitely saw a lot of misogyny being expressed and stuff like that. And whether it's jokes or not, the point is there was a study done on modern day neo-Nazis or something like that, and alt-right that or former alt-right or neo-Nazis that they say that how they got into having these views was memeing. They were just, they'd make Holocaust jokes and memes in forums and shit like that. And they didn't believe any of this shit. They just thought it was funny. But then you start doing that repeatedly over and over again with your friends, and you're trying to one up each other and over enough period of time. And of course, this isn't everybody. Not everybody is susceptible to this, but it does happen with a certain segment of people. And I think that contributed to, and Steve Bannon comes in and he sees this as oh, there's a segment of people online that I can manipulate in this way and weaponize this. You know what I mean? So that's really all the connection I was trying to make. And
I get that. I think where I stand on that is there are elements of dark humor that I have that I don't reflect on videos or on streams.
Sure.
And I try to keep it where jokes we used to be able to make. I made an offhand comment the other day and my girlfriend gave me this real side eye over it. And I was, again, trying to be edgy humor. And, I kind of made a 9/11 joke, but it was something very benign. But I just said, I 9/11 to this thing because I threw I knocked something over. And she was like, Matthew. And I'm like, oh, shit. Because sometimes, again, because you get into it, you don't really think about it. You just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah.
And it's fuck, maybe, obviously.
But I think there's people like you and I and RJ and a lot of people understand the difference between an edgy joke but I think that in a lot of cases there are people who maybe that's the only validation they get in their lives is making those types of jokes. And then whenever you kind of like what we were talking about with Geeks and Gamers and shit. And if that's the only way that they get a dopamine reward throughout the day is by making edgy jokes and over a long enough period of time, the line between joking and just believing and saying these things gets blurrier.
You're right. You're right. I mean, while I have used the N-word before, not, in a serious manner, at least I believe, it can, it can be perceived as such. And it's not a word that I like. I get very cringy over it now. I don't like to use it.
Yeah.
And I don't use it. I'm but it's again, one of those things where it's kind of the evolution of getting to that point. Cause the circle I was in at the time didn't care, And so very much, you're right. If you get that dopamine hit at that acceptance, it can start to bleed out into other things. And that is probably a fair amount of what a lot of this stuff is. I would look at someone let's say Ryan Kennel and the things that he says. He's becoming more and more brash, calling Mark Hamill a cocksucker. What was that clip?
Bitch.
Yeah, Elmo's a bitch. Fuck Big Bird, for telling kids to get vaxxed. Never mind, Big Bird had done that multiple times in the past.
Oh yeah, he was calling the people at DC disgusting pieces of shit for having a bisexual Superman character. No,
I lost his mind over that.
I had a clip in my video where he's just going off in the most extreme ways.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, for one, it's not Superman, it's his son. And who cares? He called him a pink-haired weirdo or something.
Yeah.
It's yeah, dude. Okay. Tone, if you're going to be bigoted like that, at least, wrap it in a blanket first, do something to make it not as apparent. But the thing is, no one cares.
Well, I mean, what I found interesting about that is how he kept reiterating so they're saying Superman sucks cock and stuff. And it's well, they're not actually saying that or showing that in the comic at all. So it's kind of weird that that's where your mind goes, you can't see two people in a relationship. So like if he sees a man and a woman, does he immediately think about, you know, the man eating her ass or pussy or what? You know what I mean?
But the thing is, he's an alien. He's an alien. So if he does suck cock, maybe that's this. You know, I mean, what? Aren't children born on Krypton in pods? Right.
Yeah, depending on the canon you're using. Yeah, like
all right. Yeah. So let's just argue for the sake of this particular joke that I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
That they're that they're made in pods. So I'm pretty certain that they're genetically created. So probably everyone there is infertile, and so if Superman wants to pound the ass of Jor-El and turn it into a white Christmas.
I mean, that's actually also that's.
God, never tell these fuckers about Roman soldiers and the shit they did to each other. All right. Like, I mean,
God.
Like Roman,
don't tell them that Roman soldiers thought that was more masculine than.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dude, fuck. Oh, dude, you look so fucking ripped. Dude. I want to suck that fucking cock.
Zack Snyder put that image of the Spartans in pop culture's mind, but like what the Spartans were really doing is pretty fucking yikes. You know, like each one of the soldiers had a teenage boy that they would train, but they also would sleep together. And, the teenager would like grow his hair out so that whenever the soldier could bend him over and pretend like he was fucking a woman. And yeah, that's all like historical document. You can,
even Roman centurions, same thing. They would bond together. Like when they're out on the long journeys, and they would like groom each other and bond and then also have sex to relieve stress. And to grow that bond, to further grow that bond. So, when you're watching the show Rome and Lucius Vorenus is yelling out 13, what he's really referring to is dicks in my ass. I'm kidding. That's actually a fucking epic scene from that show. That show is fucking awesome. But no, it is like that. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's again, historical documents back this up. That would blow their mind, especially all like the hardcore right wingers in this country that I see rocking like the Spartan helmet. Like, oh dude, no, man, they would tell you, they would kill you and then fuck your skull. Yep. Like for fun. Because it's all ridiculous. Like there's a guy, I need to get a picture of this. There's a hobby shop in town, and the hobby shop is like got all like the standard stuff you would see, right? And the owner's truck is outside, and he has the logo of the hobby shop on his truck, and it's right next to a sticker that says "Keep Flying," and it's the Confederate flag.
Oh no!
And I saw that, and I'm just like, well, okay. Well, like this is Olympia, Washington, dude. there's a lot of lefties here, but It's crazy shit. Anyway, we should probably move over into the Spider-Man conversation because the chat's getting ready to fucking kill me.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Cool. If anyone has to, just give everyone a bit of a break. If anyone needs to leave, I know we've been on for about 2 hours, but there's still a couple more things to get to. Mark here says, go watch Spartacus from Stars. Spartacus is great. If you've never seen that show, get through the first 3 episodes, and it starts picking up after that.
Yeah. I think Momoon had a super chat, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Momoon here says, Dwayne, meaning The Rock, told me to tell you to stop bullying him. No. I will not.
If he wants to say that, say it to his face.
If he wants to say that, he can send me that $50 gift card to Uber Eats and that case of energy drink.
So did this impact your review at all?
No, I loved Red Notice, actually. I thought it was it was silly stupid, but it was fun stupid.
Right.
I read something. Oh, sorry.
80s or 90s action movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Imagine Uncharted. Imagine Uncharted, like the game.
Right.
That's fucking Red Notice. Like,
so it's going to be a better Uncharted movie than what we're getting next year.
It is entirely possible that Red Notice would be a very similar feeling of it. Like, I don't know which one would be Nathan Drake. Probably Ryan Reynolds' character would be Nathan Drake.
Probably.
And then the people and then like the bad guy would be Gal, and then the Rock would be like the guy who brings him in on the job and stuff.
Sully.
Yes.
So Gal is the villain, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's the biggest complaint I have probably with Red Notice is it needs a villain. Like it really needs like a villain that you can like. There is a bad guy in it that I didn't really feel was like that intimidating because they didn't really spend a lot of time with him. But like, I mean, if they were to give us like a real over the top like bad guy villain role that you could dive into for the sequel, I really feel like you're going to get some premium, like late 80s, early 90s Steven Summers-esque type vibes. And that's what I really enjoyed about it. It felt like I was watching kind of like The Mummy from 99, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And so while it's not as good, and I feel like there's too much CG and the goddamn thing did not, I don't know how the hell they spent $200 million on that thing. But the reason why I want to talk about it and why this whole thing is hysterical to me is the thing with this movie is that it actually ended up, turning into, according to Netflix at least, the biggest opening day in their film history, as I figured it probably would. I mean, look at the people involved in this.
Yeah. Although this is going to be a hot take for me, but I really wish Netflix would be a lot more transparent with their numbers. Like, we're supposed to take this like their word on this, and I'm like, sure, it probably is accurate, but how are they measuring how it's their biggest opening day?
Right.
Is like, how are they measuring it, and is it really accurate? Right. Because to me, it's like, I have not seen anybody in my social group really talk about this movie. And I follow a lot of fucking people.
Yeah. It's, well, I also feel like they just kind of toned it down. And I do feel like that's kind of like they've toned down the reporting on it based on everything. But it did, again, this is what was tweeted out by The Rock and tweeted out by Gal and tweeted out by Ryan. But I can't find any of the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, they haven't dropped numbers. They just said this is the biggest opening.
The one thing that I always consider that I'm like, it gives me the side eye with whenever they talk about these numbers, other than the fact that they only release something that's very packaged like this, like a specifically framed announcement about their viewership. But like, if you're on Netflix and you're scrolling and you land on something and you have autoplay on, that counts as a watch. Like if you're just like looking at the information on the movie,
they just changed it. They just changed it up. It was the first, like, I think the first 2 minutes or something, for how they calculated a watch. But no, they just recently changed it to be more reflective of how long people are watching for. It's like it's like a retention rate. It doesn't just count as something like they're using like a graph, right? Versus like kind of like when you look at your average view duration on YouTube, how it calculates all that. That's kind of what they're doing for this. Like they just announced that the other day because they said they want to be more transparent. But even like, what was it 2 weeks ago with Army of Thieves? They said like in the opening weekend, it had 72 million households watching Army of Thieves, whereas I think Army of the Dead was like 78 million households. So that was.
Where does this rank for you, by the way, in terms of like original Netflix movies, like compared to like Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves, Extraction?
I haven't. Well, I to be honest with you, I have not seen Extraction or Army of Thieves yet.
Both of them are pretty good. Extraction's pretty solid, a pretty solid movie. I actually thought Army of Thieves was fucking great.
I almost watched it tonight. I really almost did. I
think it's a far better movie than Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead doesn't hold up as much on a second watch in my mind.
It barely held up on a first watch, because there's some really questionable choices with what the character they go in to save just disappears at the end. They don't explain where she went.
Gita. Oh, she became Yita pretty quick. She was yeeted out of that plane, and then it's like,
the character was very bad and annoying.
Yeah, but she's hot, so I'm okay with that. I'm a man.
Yeah. But no, Army of Thieves was legit a well-made movie, well plotted. Like it reminded me almost of a kind of National Treasure type vibe. Just really fun, kind of actiony adventure thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even that vibe actually is what I felt about Red Notice, the action adventure type. Part of me felt like, oh, this could have been a Jerry Bruckheimer production back in the mid '90s. Like if they didn't get Michael Bay to direct it, it could have been like Simon West, who did Con Air, by the way, just to kind of give reference to that.
Yeah.
Or like he did the first, Simon West also did the first Tomb Raider movie, which was also produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, I believe. Oh, no, produced by Michael Bay, I think. It doesn't matter. But I mean, there was a lot of good action there. I mean, Mega Podtastic has been singing its praises. That's true.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe. I forgot. It's been a busy
So he
day.
saw it in theaters, and then he actually went to go see it again on Netflix. And that was the thing that caught my attention, was the theatrical numbers. Because this is the thing is, with Army of the Dead, they ended up, like Netflix, ended up grossing $780,000 with Army of the Dead in its opening weekend back when it came out in May. and that was on 444 theaters nationwide through Cinemark. Cinemark chose to then sign an exclusivity deal with Netflix to put their films in theaters down the road, right? So my thoughts on this were like, okay, Red Notice is coming to theaters, which it did come to theaters. It's playing right now in Cinemarks. And the movie in its opening weekend failed to gross $1 million.
Wow.
Now, granted, that was up against Eternals, so that makes sense. But again, like The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot all went to a world premiere. They held that Thursday of last week, and then they had the movie come out in theaters. Everyone knew about it because there's all those commentaries around Twitter of like Hiram Garcia, the producer, saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, the Black Adam versus Wonder Woman." And
I know, but I think overall, though, the marketing for this movie was not very strong.
Well, it was being pushed on Netflix really hard. But I'm still surprised that it's like, again, The Rock is out there saying like, I want to give 100 people, I want to send you and 100 of your friends to go see Red Notice in theaters. They all tweeted about Red Notice in theaters. In fact, I think I got a screenshot here. Where is that at? I might have actually missed it accidentally.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this has anything to... Oh, sorry.
Well, no, here we go. So here it's like, you've been put on Red Notice, tickets on sale for the biggest film in Netflix history, on sale now, in theaters November 5th, and then on Netflix November 12th. And so The Rock has got like how many fucking millions of followers and shit? I mean,
a lot.
People who, because I always say that The Rock isn't a movie star, that he's just an entertainer. And I always get a lot of shit for that. Never mind showing box office receipts for his standalone films are like never that great. So looking at this theatrically, it was so bad last weekend that Netflix actually chose to not report the box office numbers. In fact, even going here and looking up their Red Notice for this week, this is on boxofficemojo.com. We can see here that it's only done $70,000 international. And that's in Portugal. It's only playing in Portugal. But you're telling me that these three fucking people couldn't muster up more than $70,000 in Portugal?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
There's something about this that's just very fundamentally off to me.
Well, so yeah, what I was thinking is like, do you think maybe it has something to do with how Netflix is perceived as a platform, right? Like, it's been starting to, do a lot better original content, but I think for a lot of people, there's still that it has that tinge of, this is just kind of B-level content that I can watch at home. You know what I mean? Like, and so maybe unlike Dune, which did pretty well despite dropping on HBO Max at the same time, because that's definitely a cinema film, right? Like you see the ads for Dune and you're like, I want to see that in the theater. Whereas Red Notice, it's, maybe just people going, I'll just watch that at home in my underwear.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
I watched it on my, on my big screen and whatnot. And my biggest problem with that movie was how much of it was actually green screen. And like a lot of the set pieces were green screen. A lot of that's where when they're like, oh, it's $180 million, $200 million movie. I'm like, where'd the money go?
To the stars.
Obviously to get those three people there. And because of them saying now that it's like their biggest premiere, there's obviously going to be a sequel. And I'm not going to lie, I'm excited for it if it happens.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I wasn't going to, but if you recommend it, I'll check it out.
It's fun. It's like, dude, don't
I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, don't go in expecting anything like significant, but it's like there's a couple of gags in there that legitimately had me laughing my ass off. Like they play with a couple tropes that like I know Megapodtastic knows what I'm talking about, and like there's some stuff that legitimately made me just bust up laughing and then got me invested in the movie. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and The Rock is really good. Gal, actually, I think this is probably her best acting.
Oh,
okay. Like because Wonder Woman was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 84, her acting was pretty terrible. But here she actually like tried to be playful and she was flirty and you know what? It worked. It worked for me.
She's probably been getting some coaching.
I would hope so. Yeah. Especially if she wants Wonder Woman 3 to define her career, because it's going to need to at this point. But I mean, again, just like, the movie's done well on Netflix. Obviously it's what it was going to be, but I just find that its theatrical run, which just off of the popularity of those actors alone should have pushed more people to the theater. I just feel like that's something that is like so out of left field for me. But I'm glad the movie's doing well on Netflix. I'm glad people are seeing it. And I think positive word of mouth is going to get people to check it out even more.
Yeah.
Shogun here for $2, man. Thanks. Says I like the movie, but it had no bite to it. That's what I mean by having like a better villain. You know, as like Jungle Cruise, for example. I didn't really care for Jungle Cruise all that much. Jesse Plemons as the bad guy didn't work for me. You know, like him as Todd in Breaking Bad, that worked for me because he was fucking ruthless in that show.
He was creepy as fuck is what he was. And
it
worked. Yeah.
And it worked. And Jesse Plemons, like I look at him now and I'm like, dude, you're fucking just like, you're just laying pipe to Kirsten Dunst, man. Like, I don't even like, I mean, like, what are you even doing here? You know, but I think he's a good actor. I liked him in a lot of stuff that he's been in, but it's like, he's not necessarily in the case of Jungle Cruise, like as a German prince or something. He didn't really come across as the most like menacing.
He's like a German Nazi prince or something like that.
Well, this is before World War I believe, or right after World War I or something.
It's like around that time. It's like it's like right before it happens, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he's like right when the Reich is about to rise and all that stuff. So, which you know.
Yeah, Jacob here says Red Notice sequel probably coming out in 2025. I think it's going to come out probably
sooner.
2023. They're gonna fast track. Well,
look, the one thing that I saw about Red Notice, and you can confirm or let me know what you think about this, is a brief like Twitter review where someone said that the comedy was lacking, almost like it was made for an international audience, which watered it down.
Most likely, actually. And I've said this a lot about movies. Like, what was it? Independence Day Resurgence was real bad at that.
Yeah.
And the comedy, yeah, I mean, a lot in this, and I hate that about the international audience shit, because you look at Squid Game and you're like, all they did is just do the dub or do the subtitled, and no, you know, well, I mean, people fucking, you know, watch that shit and dubbed. My God, bastards.
Yeah, it was a horrible dub too. Really.
But did you hear the story behind that though? The dubbing company only got paid like $6,700.
Whoa.
Yeah, they got paid nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Right. I mean, and I've done that before. Like I've mentioned this before, but like back in 2008, I was working with a studio in San Diego, and the owner had to fly to Amsterdam for a week for like other unrelated business. With another side venture that he had. So he left us in charge of the studio, but then he went, oh, by the way, I had worked a deal with this Brazilian, it was a Mexican production company who was licensing out Tamagotchi short films, like 3-minute short films, to Brazil. And they want to do the audio dubbing in Brazil. So we need Brazilian voice actors who can speak Portuguese. By the way, there's no budget, and I'll see you guys in a week. And we're like, I mean, I was working on something else, so I wasn't handling that project. That is like my one saving grace here, I think. But effectively what happened was, the people in charge, they flat out lied to people. You know, they flat out got them to come and do voice acting work under the guise of it being like a demo, right? Or being like an audition. And I think we had like 8 or 9 people do it. And then that's what got shipped off to Brazil. And they received no compensation. None of us received any compensation. It makes you realize that the studio itself did not last much longer. And ultimately he had to close it down and then take the grip truck that we had that I fucking co-purchased, by the way. And then he still owes me $1,000. Fuck, God damn it. And then go to LA and like basically kind of live out of the truck for a while, trying to get enough work to get by, you know? So it's like, again, I can understand the dubbing company getting screwed over. It happens. Like voice actors get paid shit. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Well, I think Steve Bloom even said, this is funny bringing it up. I saw a tweet from Zelda Williams asking, you know, people were saying like, why don't you do anime? I'm like, and she was like, I really don't know much about it. And Steve Bloom was like, do it because you want to do it and you love the project. We get paid nothing. So don't go into it expecting you're going to get paid very well. We get paid basically peanuts. We do it because we love doing it. We want.
Well, they also, but to be fair, those anime guys, they make all their money off of going to conventions.
Yeah, that's what Steve Bloom said. You're going to make most of your money. You're going to actually get most of your like payment through.
Oops.
What is that?
That was another tweet from Jeremy I got sent.
Oh.
Yeah, he's like, I have no allegiance to the right or left. I'm just a Trump guy.
Yeah, that was bizarre too. He went like that massive Trump rant. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
I kept hearing about the Trump rant. I was gonna watch the stream, but obviously at this point it's way too late for that.
So he has no actual politics or ethical concerns. He's just a fucking, you know.
He says he loves Donald Trump.
Cult of personality. Cool.
Yeah, you have to love that.
Cool.
It's just like all that stuff of like, oh yeah, I love Donald Trump. Donald Trump would not love you back. No, he would.
No, there's like,
I'm pretty sure I had to go back and look, but I think Jeremy said that Donald Trump is the greatest president that he's ever had during his lifetime or something. Like he's the best president he's had as long as he's lived.
There were reports that like Trump during the January 6th thing that he was like watching from, you know, wherever, his hotel room or whatever on TV, and he was embarrassed by the quality of people that were representing him he wasn't worried about what they were doing. He just thought they looked low class. And it's like, yeah, this motherfucker is resentful of the people who voted for him. And
well, I mean, look at it now where he's like, hey, go and get the vaccine, and they booed him.
Yeah.
You know,
some of them twist that and say they're like, oh, he's just saying that because he has to. He doesn't really want us to. So it's like, it doesn't even matter what he says. If it doesn't fit with what they want, they'll just twist it. And they won't even demonize him for being, you know, it's not like they're criticizing him for bending over for whoever's telling him to say that. It's like, whatever. He's just doing that because he has to. Yeah, give him a pass. It's pretty silly.
Oh, I know. I can't wait now that I'm in. Look, I'm not trying to go too political, but the contempt against Bannon is makes me happy because I really despise Steve Bannon. But one last thing I want to mention here before we dive onto the Ridley Scott stuff is when it comes to The Rock, I as an Uber Eats delivery driver, I absolutely support this. This is also goes to show you another way they're trying to end up pushing the promotion for this movie, which I find to be very weird. They're doing 12 days of Red Notice, and they're giving away thousands of Uber Eats gift cards for $50 and thousands of cases of Zoa Energy. If you just hashtag 12 days of Red Notice.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like for one, if they want to give me $50 gift card to Uber Eats, I would gladly spend it on my family. You know, and then give a generous tip of whatever's left to the driver, you know, and everything else. But it's like, yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. Like you never see this where it's almost like they're trying to bribe people to watch it.
Yeah. Maybe they realized that the marketing, the earlier marketing didn't do so well, because I didn't hear of the thing until a couple of days ago. I had no idea about this movie.
Yeah, and maybe the fact that it just failed to connect in theaters, because I mean, it's one of those ones where I'm like, dude, it should have pulled in. I think if it would have been given just like $10 million in marketing, right, just to do online ads saying that it's in theaters, you know, $10-20 million, they would have easily made that money back from the box office gross.
Yeah, but maybe they just thought that having the stars on its own would be enough to push the thing. But yeah,
I mean, what is that?
An error was made somewhere.
Yeah, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. But all right, let us quickly touch on the whole thing here with Ridley Scott. You guys see this one today?
No, I didn't. What do you say?
Yeah, he says here when talking about superhero movies, he says that their scripts are not any fucking good. They're superhero movies. So why don't the superhero movies have better stories? They're mostly saved by special effects, and that's becoming boring for everyone who works with special effects.
I say this. Why do all these like auteur directors keep on speaking about movies that they, you know,
I can answer that question
so little about?
Yeah, I've got some answers too.
I can answer that question. It's because the media asks them these questions because they're desperate for any kind of headline they can get.
Yeah, and I think also that's absolutely right. But like, didn't Ridley Scott just put out The Last Duel, right? And I'm pretty sure it underperformed.
It flopped.
Yeah, so like I imagine there's some resentment there, and the same thing
House of Gucci is coming, and that's probably gonna flop too.
I don't know though, because that's Lady Gaga.
But like with Scorsese, I feel like, you know, I'm not saying that he's being dishonest, Scorsese, and saying this just because he, I don't know, doesn't believe it. I'm sure he does believe what he's saying, but at the same time, it's like, how much of this is resentment because he's fucking Scorsese and he couldn't even get the Irishman made by a studio except for Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that has to be kind of a blow to his ego.
Well,
that has to kind of.
To extrapolate on the quote real quick, he does say, because they only summarized it in the discussing film, but he says, he goes, I think I've done 3 great scripted superhero movies. One would be Alien with Sigourney Weaver. One would be fucking Gladiator, and one would be Harrison Ford. What did he do with Harrison Ford? What movie did he do with Harrison Ford?
What did he do?
Oh, fuck yeah, fuck me, god damn it.
So basically, he just doesn't know what a superhero is.
Well, no, he says that these are superhero movies. He's like, so why don't they have better stories?
But they're not.
No, they're not. They're not. But the thing is, there's a lot of rich content that comes out of superhero stories. I think the biggest problem,
well, at the end of the day, it's like, too, like, who the fuck am I going to tell Ridley Scott that he's wrong, though? You know?
It's like one of those things where he's in his right where he can say that, but at the same time,
he's made some of the best movies ever made. It's like, okay, he has a bad take, whatever. I know it's like,
I'm not going to like hold him over a barrel over it or whatever. I mean,
exactly, but it's just one of those things where I'm just like, again, like what RJ was saying, like that the media and these directors are speaking about these. Paul Thomas Anderson literally was flipped it and was like, oh, like the last movie I saw that was good was Shang-Chi, and I love those Marvel movies and
and I think that kind of speaks to like that this is as old as art, basically. Like the old guard is always going to be pissy about the new thing. You know what I mean? Right. Not to say that their criticisms don't have some merit. Some of them do. There is, they can be formulaic. Yeah. They can look kind of, drowned in special effects sometimes and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, when movies first came out, theatrical performers were like saying, this is the death of theater. And, like, it's, look at this. They're it's just filming it one time. You don't even have to perform anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a thing that happens anytime there's an evolution in how we consume media.
Well, I think so. I think some, like, I even though I disagree with some of what Martin Scorsese said a little bit, I do understand his complaint, though, where it's like the cinematic experience is moving away from what it should be, right? To where it is a shame that a movie like The Irishman can't get the support from the studios. That is a shame, right? It's a shame that a movie like The Last Duel by Ridley Scott bombed as much as we did, although I think it has more to do with COVID and just the times we're in.
It also has to do with how they marketed the film.
But I mean, how much of it is because of superhero movies specifically, and how much of it is because streaming is becoming such a ubiquitous thing? And like,
I think it's both. I think
streaming platforms are putting out fucking premier fucking content. Like HBO Max has put out some amazing stuff. And you don't have to go to the theater to watch it. And I don't know. It's
doesn't Ridley Scott also do that Wolf show or the Raised by Wolves?
Raised by Wolves on it. That's a great fucking show too, by the way. I love that show.
Yeah, like, I think it's just the case right now.
Wouldn't you consider that a a special effects fest as well? Like with the whole.
Well, it's more art house though. You could say it's more like this art house independent show.
It's in the middle ground where it's
Night Music Man. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
There's a lot of visual effects and special effects, but also when there isn't, it's really on point. But then when there is, it's kind of blinding sometimes, for me at least. Like. There's some parts where I'm like,
hold up. Joe did not like Gladiator. Are you serious? How do you not like Gladiator? That's a great fucking movie.
It really Dude, that's a bad take. That's like saying you don't like Shawshank Redemption.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would. I don't understand those words in that order.
No.
Are you not entertained? I mean, like, come on.
Gladiator's
on my command, awesome. Unleash hell. Like, it's a good fucking movie, dude.
Good shit.
But just imagine Joaquin Phoenix in clown makeup. There you go.
doing the thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
See, Jacob, I don't think that's necessarily what it is. I don't think he's just talking about this to get press for House of Gucci. I literally think they just asked him a question about it because they're like, fuck, no one's going to care about us interviewing Ridley Scott. Let's ask him what he thinks about these movies. Maybe we get some press off that. I think it's more so an issue with the media than the person themselves. Ridley Scott's going to Ridley Scott. He's going to answer honestly. Cause
it's like what Mark said yesterday, where these interviewers aren't any interviews anymore. They're just glorified bloggers at this
They're
point.
looking for clickbait, yeah. Like
Exactly.
and especially now after enough of these directors, you've had Denis Villeneuve who said it. You had Scorsese. You know, it's been a conversation before. So at this point, it's almost like a journalist can go, "Oh, I gotta interview Ridley Scott tonight. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll ask him, you know, because he's an old director. He's probably got some shit to say about Marvel movies, you know." So
well, like, what's funny though is like even Denis has come out and said that he would direct the Batman movie, like after the fact. So it ends up being like, you're right. There's a bunch of clickbaiters that are just trying to like fill the time and get the attention, but it's also like these you know, I mean with Ridley, was it like, look at what else is like Ridley did The Martian. Like The Martian could be a graphic novel.
Oh God, The Martian was amazing.
You know, like yeah, I mean a lot. I would argue that like Alien, Gladiator, the other one he mentioned, the Blade Runner, those could all be graphic novels. The thing with comic book movies though that they don't realize, especially when talking about Marvel, is this is serialized films. This is like serialized television. That's the whole point. It's like there's a story, there's an overarching story. The Infinity Saga was what, 23 episodes, 24 episodes?
Yeah, 23 movies.
Doesn't it kind of think, doesn't that, if you think about it from a television perspective, doesn't that feel like the whole first season?
Yeah, that's exactly the number of episodes. And well, they don't do them that many episodes anymore usually, but
yeah, well, it could be 2 seasons then, whatever you want to refer to. But then like they're even kind of like looking at this phase 4, phase 5, phase 6. Whoever knows how many phases this might go, but they're probably going to call this one the multiverse saga. The first one was the Infinity Saga. Now it's the multiverse saga, and they're going to turn it into to a chapter as part of being part of what this overall story is of these characters. And new characters will come and characters will go and things like that. And that's kind of the whole point. Is that's what's going to keep people interested and engaging. Is that the story is going to continuously move forward, going to an eventual endpoint before it goes through a bit of a rebirth, transition into the next storyline, into the next phase, and to go from there. And that's the biggest. That's great, actually. In my mind, that's great because I think that's...
and it's exactly what the comics do as well. Like Feige has very successfully transferred the comic book formula to film, and I think that's part of that plays into it as well. Is that like these guys and RJ, not to call you out or anything, but like a minute ago you said that's what movies should be. They're not what movies should be, and it's like, well, but you know, who says should be? Like, who decides that? Just because something has been a certain way doesn't mean that it's bad for it to evolve and for the structures of how we do these things.
No. Of course, no. Obviously, I'm saying like it's more like in some ways that you just put it. It's like the old guard is feeling disillusioned with the way things are moving, and you know, we can't say whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily, but things are changing. Some think it's for the worse. Some say, hey, it's just a natural evolution of the way content is going, the way distribution is going for the industry and all facets of entertainment.
There's so many factors which we've touched on. I think a lot of the main factors here just in the last few minutes. So I think in general it's just kind of silly to blame superhero movies entirely whenever there's so many other things that play into it. That's my take, really.
Well, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, like if you look at this, the evolution of cinema. I don't even want to say cinema. I mean theaters. You know, and like I spent a lot of time working for him, as I've talked about before. But the key factor here is that people's tastes have changed. You know, like people will always justify entertainment, but oftentimes there can be, it's like, you know, what in your mind is the biggest problem facing, let's say, Netflix? What do you guys think the biggest problem facing Netflix is?
Too much pump and dump content.
Exactly.
Yeah, like trying to specifically, I would say it's like trying to appeal to lots of very distinct cultures at once, and that causes, and also using algorithms to basically write their content for them. You know, they take the data they get from their viewer data, and they like, well, people like this, they don't like this. Let's make a movie that has this but not this. And you know, when you're doing such a large sample size, that's how you get watered down, you know, like,
well, and that's what Warner Brothers is doing now. They have an actual program that helps them figure out you know, the movies that they want to make. And obviously they've kind of clearly had problems with this kind of shit. I mean, like Paramount just released a Clifford the fucking Red Dog movie.
Which apparently, you know? which actually got an A cinema score.
Yeah,
it's actually beloved by audiences right now.
That's wow. Yeah. I showed the trailer. Yeah. I showed the trailer to my girlfriend today, and she was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm all like, "Apparently, it's good." apparently, like, this is a thing.
Well, I don't know if I'd say it's good. It's more like entertaining if you go watch it, I guess.
Well, I mean, an A cinema score, yeah, is entertaining, but I'm like, okay, like people are clearly enjoying this.
You have Clifford the Big Red Dog movie versus Home Alone, Sweet Home Alone, whatever that movie's called.
Home Sweet Home Alone.
Yeah, and that's clearly terrible.
Real quick. Guess who directed Home Sweet Home Alone?
Simon West.
No, the guy who directed Borat and Borat 2.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No fucking.
And
way.
also the people that wrote that movie is writing the Inspector Gadget and Space Camp reboots.
Larry Charles?
No, it was or maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. It was like or maybe he was a second unit director here. Home Sweet Home Alone.
Okay, because Larry Charles did those and like Religulous, that old Bill Maher.
Dan Mazer did it. What else has he done? I was reading tonight an interview with him. He worked on those movies. Maybe he just worked on.
He was a writer.
He was a writer and a co-producer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, writer for both. Okay, for both of.
Still, that's fucking bizarre.
It's like to go from doing Borat to. Borat. Yeah, goddamn. He wrote Bruno. He wrote Borat. He wrote Ollie G in the House.
Wow.
He wrote Bridget Jones's Baby. Office. Dude, he did what the fuck? Like this guy, this is like Kevin Smith directing Cop Out. It makes no sense.
What the heck? Why? How is a SNL actor writing this movie, and how it did turn out like that?
The thing you have to remember though is that like oftentimes the script will get written and then they take it into production, and then while they're on set, they'll rewrite shit all the time.
I'm not watching Home Sweet Home Alone. That movie can go fuck itself.
I'm gonna probably watch it tomorrow.
No,
I watched.
Don't watch it.
There's a channel called Think Story that I enjoy, and I watched his video that compared it to the original Home Alone, and that's really all I need to see.
It's bizarre
I
too
think
because
I think I said it yesterday. The only like 2 references to Kevin is his brother and that Kevin owns a security system business.
Wow.
I mean, that is kind of clever, but like if that's all the movie's got going for it, that's not
the weird part is that the movie does not take the point of view of the child. This time the POV of the movie is the robbers. I'm like, what the fuck?
And the kid steals like a Christmas gift from like some poor kid's thing, and he's not a poor kid, he's a rich kid. You know what I mean? Like his parents
rich,
are loaded,
rich.
He goes up into. He's like, I deserve this Christmas gift that would go to a poor kid, and walks out with it basically.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's just hard because the movie makes the robbers like super sympathetic, but then they can beat the shit out of. It's like that's not entertaining because you're meant to care about them.
It comes across. The trailer came across to me as like very mean spirited. Is kind of how the trailer came across to me.
Even the tagline for the movie on the poster is "Holiday classics are meant to be broken." Like,
this broke
a very
Hollywood classic, holiday classic, and it shows that Home Alone 2 and 1 are way better than any of these other movies.
But that's not even up for debate.
That tagline just sounds like, you like Home Alone? Well, fuck you.
Exactly. It's like.
It's a bizarre idea. Like
someone said that it makes Home Alone 3 look better. I'm like, go.
I believe Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back has the best quote about that.
Dude,
this makes House Party 2 look like House Party 3
or House Party 4.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Look, I'm getting my coffee.
Yeah. Again, it's so bizarre to take this direction with a Home Alone sequel. If Disney was smart, they would have got Macaulay Culkin to come back.
It's not a sequel though. It's a reboot.
He probably
it's a
read the
reboot,
script,
but same thing.
And then was like, nope, not doing.
No, I'm saying you change the story to be about the McAllisters again, but this time it's Kevin McAllister's kid or something.
Father.
Yeah, something like that. Or got him in a security company.
Just not touch it. How about that?
Or not touch it.
Leave it alone.
I also think if they were to offer this to Macaulay, because the funny thing is, a couple years back, I joined like this group of people for like this film program, and we did a documentary on like the light at the end of the bridge, and I interviewed both Macaulay Culkin and Brenda Song. But what Macaulay revealed is that he didn't see a single paycheck from Home Alone or Home Alone 2.
His parents all got all that.
Yeah, and he just started getting royalties like just recently. For them.
His parents outright fucked him on that shit.
I think you'd have to probably back up a dump truck full of cash to his front door to even get him to consider.
Oh yeah, like that. I'm sure he's like, if I'm getting money from this franchise, it's from the first 2 movies that I actually was a part of. Like, that's the only movie.
He seems to be enjoying what he's doing. He's got his what's it called, Bunny Ears podcast stuff. Like he seems to.
Is that still going? Is that still going on?
Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, he has Bunny Ears, and then he's also working on the American Horror Story stuff with Ryan Murphy.
He's been on Red Letter Media a few times. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean he's married to Brenda Song.
That's a shame.
He and Brenda Song just had a baby.
Red Letter Media is good, Matt. God damn it.
Red Letter Media is not good, and is not good. It overplays its hand so fucking often.
Dude,
I can agree with that. I mostly
don't watch their new stuff. Watch their like.
Their new stuff their new stuff is bitter, cynical, and nihilistic.
Here's what
I mean the reviews of newer movies. Like, don't watch that stuff. Watch Best of the Worst. That's the best stuff.
Exactly. Best of the Worst is fucking great. I watch every episode, but when it comes to them like reviewing a new movie or especially fucking new Star Trek, because Mike is so goddamn dishonest when it comes to how he represents new Star Trek compared to old Trek, it genuinely pisses me off. But yeah, Best of the Worst is still great.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like their review of Ghostbusters 2016 is god tier.
Oh, it's an amazing review.
The Plinkett review of that is god tier.
Yeah.
Because I fucking that movie, Jesus goddamn Christ. I have my issues with that film.
We're just a few days away from Afterlife. Don't worry.
I know. Thursday night, I'm gonna go see it.
There are people who claim that the extended cut of Ghostbusters 2016 is actually pretty good.
It's not. I've watched.
Listen, I don't often argue for like eugenics. That's a time when I'll be making a serious, consideration. Be like,
Jesus, really? All right, you're going full movie Bob. I see.
You talking about like just Paul Feig or like the whole cast or what?
No. Here's the thing with Paul Feig, man. Like, no, not the cast. I like the cast. I mean, individually, I like. Well, not so much Leslie Jones, but that's just because I don't find her kind of humor to be very funny.
Yeah.
Whereas Kate McKinnon is god tier on practically everything. Kristen Wiig. I even like Melissa McCarthy. I loved Mike and Molly. Watched every episode.
Yeah, I mean, Melissa McCarthy is her quality is entirely dependent on the script and direction and stuff.
Yeah. So, but the whole point essentially with that is like the thing with that movie is that Paul Feig like was the wrong person to make it. It should have never been made anyway.
I also think it's also because Amy Pascal was trying to,
she was pushing an agenda with that. That is true. And then the studio doubled down when the backlash happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I went into Ghostbusters 2016 and I thought to myself, like, okay, please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Cold open happened. All right. Cold open isn't terrible. If the rest of the movie is like this, we're going to be in good shape. I'm going to be happy with what I'm watching. Nope.
Everybody was trying to be Bill Murray. Everybody wanted to be Venkman in that movie.
And then, but then when they brought in Venkman, you know who he was? He was William Atherton. If you think about it, his performance was William Atherton's character. The EPA guy. Yeah, like the way he was kind of approaching it. I thought that was clever. But I will say this again: the only good thing I have to say about Ghostbusters 2016 is because of that movie, we got Thor Ragnarok, and I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
So
apparently, to Chris Hemsworth, he says that's the most fun he has ever had filming a movie was Ghostbusters 2016.
Well, I mean, he legit was hilarious. Like, he's the one part of the movie where I was literally laughing and thinking, wait, his parts of the movie make you realize how fucking dull and boring the rest of it is, because it's just such a height compared to the rest of it.
It is. Every scene he stole, every scene he was in, every time I was laughing my ass off. And then when I heard that they were going to do another Thor and they were going to make it like more comedic, and after seeing, I'm like, oh, good. And then I really enjoyed. Again, I've said this before. When it comes to when it comes to Chris Hemsworth's performance, if you look at Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame, that is his key arc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there is a very strong emotional arc between all of those films. I mean, even Thor: The Dark World, I think by tying in the Freya death and Loki's relationship coming off of Thor: The Dark World, I think that even kind of elevated that film a little bit. Not all of it, but like
I also
of it.
like to see the 3 films and overall Thor arc until Ragnarok is that he's this guy who takes everything super seriously, and then once he gets to like around Dark World and then to Ragnarok, he kind of understands that he can have fun in his life. He needs to he had troubles, and he needs
he became self-aware and how this whole thing is pretty absurd. Might as well have fun with it.
I mean, and if you think about it, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, and he's all like, yeah, no, I've seen some shit. Like Midgard is fucked up, man. Like, man, what the fuck? And so maybe either way, I think Chris Hemsworth gave a great performance in all 3 of those films.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially coming off of like El Senor Dutch Angle's Kenneth Branagh for the first Thor.
Oh, you know what? I have a hot take about Dark World real quick. I actually think that we only consider it a bad movie in relation to other MCU movies. If you look at other like sci-fi fantasy action films that came out the same year as Dark World, it's better than like almost all of them.
Oh my God, After Earth, because that was like June of that year.
Yeah.
I'll grant you that one. I'll grant you that one.
The Dark World is not a horrible movie. I just say it's a mediocre movie. It's not bad. It's just kind of eh.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing with the Dark World is like it's coming off again. I think the problem with the Dark World is that it came off of Iron Man 3, and Iron Man 3 was divisive, and even though it did $1 billion, and I think Iron Man 3 is way over criticized for a lot of it. That's kind of the whole notion here is I think coming off of that, it was like, it wasn't what people expected it to be, because it wasn't like the best movie, but it's still, if you think, that was actually like one of the very first films that was done after the Disney acquisition.
Yeah.
And so that used like, you can even listen into some of the sound effects when the Dark Elves are attacking Asgard, and you could hear TIE fighters. Like they use Star Wars sound effects in that. Like, I think because they could. I was watching the movie like at the midnight show, and I perked up and went like, wait, what? I recognize that sound.
It's definitely you're right, in the context of what came before it, because like you had the Avengers, which was just, an unprecedented type movie. And it was genuinely fun, like from start to finish. Just, Avengers is a fun fucking movie. And then you had Iron Man 3, which, think what you want about it. It took some swings. And I think they paid off more than a lot of people seem to with Iron Man 3. But then Dark World just plays most everything right down the middle, and right. It kind of repeats some beats because you have to have Loki back in the central narrative as well. So it kind of repeats some stuff a little bit. But.
Well, but I think again, but those beats paid off. Right. Again, the Dark World proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Kevin Feige and the rest of the creative team at Marvel understand the long game.
Yeah.
And that's why they will, like, if the Dark World was made by DC, they would have recast Chris Hemsworth.
Oh yeah, they would have pulled it. The character.
They would have been like, whoa, we can't do this, and they would have left. Whereas now we're getting the 4th Thor movie, and I am beyond excited for it. I can't wait to see
super
it.
Excited.
Oh God, Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
See him kill Russell Crowe will be hilarious.
Oh yeah, I just want to see him kill a lot of gods. That's going to be cool.
Well, I'll tell you this. Probably one of the things I'm most excited for is to see how they shot in the volume.
Oh yeah, that too.
Because that was the first Marvel movie to shoot in the volume. And I mean, even elements of the Batman movie actually are all shot in the volume.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, okay. Have you seen The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Okay, so the volume is the stagecraft technology where it's basically it's like the LED panels instead of a green screen.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. Like,
yeah, I mean that's a great looking show. Yeah.
But that's so like the shot from the Batman trailer where it's him and Catwoman and like they're looking out over the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a silhouette of them, and behind that was all shot on the volume apparently.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, that's definitely more depth than a lot of green screen.
It is life changing for filming.
I would say if you have Disney Plus, Dane, go and look at the making of The Mandalorian season 1, and they show like so the program that is used in the volume is they use an Unreal. They use Unreal 4 is the engine that they use. Now with Unreal 5 coming out, fuck, dude. Oh my God, what they're going to be able to do with that is going to be insane. But the cool thing is what they do is they send, so they want to shoot on location. Like let's say they want to shoot like a scene in Iceland and they need some of the fjords. They'll send a team out there. The team will get the high res footage, send it back to Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm will digitize it. They'll put it into the program and then they'll create the world around it. And then let's say they go, you know what? I like the fact that the sun is over here, but really for this time of day, we need it to be over here. And they'll just go, okay. And they bring it up and they twist a dial and it just moves the time of day.
That's amazing.
And they can set it up. Yeah.
It's basically like CGI plate photography where they like snap, send, and boom.
Yeah.
It's like Jarvis was saying, watch the first 2 episodes and Jon Favreau explains how he came up with the idea with all of the island people around him, and it's just amazing. It's
cool.
It's filmmaking game changer in the filmmaking business.
I really like the idea that's in that super chat on screen right now, by the way.
Oh yeah, Home Alone. You know, I mean, isn't that really just Arkham City? You know, like
yeah, but I mean, like, imagine if it's just a little kid Bruce Wayne, and you've got like Scarecrow and I don't know Joker or something just trying to break in. I don't know. It just seems like it'd be a fun satirical.
No, not a Joker and Scarecrow. It's Killer Moth.
Killer Moth. Yeah,
Killer Moth's trying to break into Wayne Manor.
You know what? I'd be okay with something like that, but I didn't see these McLeod. I'm so sorry. There's a couple super chats here from I got to get to. Thank you, buddy. For $10, he says, they just keep proving more how grouchy Bill Maher level elitist boomers all of these legacy directors are becoming. The most comic book films can stand with other smart people films. I mean, yeah, I get that. I think it's kind of like people who have a changing medium, like go back and look at the original YouTubers from 2006, the ones that blew up. Are they still doing YouTube? Many of them aren't. They've moved on because the medium has passed them by and they've just done other things. Someone like Ridley Scott is always going to have his library, and the dude's like 87 and he's still working his ass off.
Still going hard. Yeah.
They're going to do a sequel to Gladiator.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Like with Ridley
he just
Scott,
said that they just finished the script for it.
Yeah.
Like somebody asked me recently because Denis Villeneuve also, kind of lightly talked some shit on superhero movies while he was promoting Dune. And what I told my friend was, because she was all mad. She was like, "Can you believe he said that?" And I'm like, you know what? If it helps Dune to get more eyes on it, for him to get into the news cycle by saying something like that, I think Marvel can handle it. I think Marvel's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that him saying a couple of harsh words about it is going to kill the superhero movie industry. And if that helps him get a little more eyeballs on him and what he's doing, then that's great, because I think he's a master at filmmaking. So
yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, again, like even all of those guys, like, it's kind of funny like this. I always like to kind of go back to when Spielberg was actively trying to block Netflix from being able to submit their films to the Oscars.
Yeah.
And trying to play that, like, oh yeah, cinema is meant to be seen in theaters stuff.
Old man yells at a cloud.
Yeah.
Type thing.
And then now who signed a deal with fucking Netflix? Spielberg. Because even Spielberg is having trouble getting money for projects. Because the kind of movies that he's making is not necessarily what people are watching. Like, I'm sorry, it's been 10 years. Where the fuck is my Tintin sequel?
No kidding.
Exactly. Where is Tintin 2?
Where is the Peter Jackson directed? Get the fuck off these documentaries, Peter. All right, you already played back in Middle Earth.
Go back to Tintin. Go back to
We're never getting Tintin.
We're never gonna. I know.
Oh
I know.
my god!
Which is a shame. It's a damn shame.
I know. It's just like Tintin's so good, and I just wanted a sequel to it. And like every time Collider or someone,
if I ever get to talk to Andy Serkis,
like the last person to ask about it was Collider, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, it's still in the writing development," or they're like, "It's in pre-production" or whatever. I'm just like,
as far as I remember hearing that like Joe Cornish and Edgar Wright wrote like 3 scripts. Like they did, because they wrote the first one, and then because it was supposed to be something along the lines of doing the first, like Spielberg was going to do the first Tintin. Peter Jackson was going to direct the second. This was all mocap and shit, right? Like this is all, you know, like they were shooting all on green screen and stuff. And so it was a lot different back then. Now the technology is way better. They could do, I mean, back then, even Spielberg, I saw him and Peter Jackson at Comic-Con and they were talking about it. And Spielberg explained it where like, he's like, oh yeah, while we were shooting, we had all of the visuals pre-rendered while Jamie Bell was moving around, and Spielberg, they were shooting them on Canon 5Ds to capture the footage. And they had a little iPad that was the monitor, and Spielberg it was like a virtual monitor. He could like point it up and point it around, and where he could see like how the scene would look with like the animation rendered.
That's incredible.
Essentially, like, I mean, maybe I'm misremembering it. It's been a decade, but the technology that they were using back then for that was really cool. I saw that movie 3D first day, first show. I was there. I loved it, and I just so pissed off we never got more out of that. But you know, and then real quick here also, McLeod with another $10, man. Thank you so much. Says, I feel like all these legacy directors yak about comic films ruining cinema. It sounds like the same similar talking points boomer GOP types signaling out violent video games for school shootings. I mean, I think that's a bit extreme.
You know what it kind of reminds me of on a superficial level is the same way, you know, definitely not in the messaging of what they're saying, like, but how, for instance, Comicsgate, the way that they perpetuate their narratives about the industry failing is by manipulating the fact that the industry is and marketing and how these things are distributed are changing, and it's changing drastically and quickly, and the markets are changing, so that allows them the doubt and the wiggle room to insert their narratives. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's kind of similar, not to say that these directors are doing it for anything like the same reason, but because we're in the middle of this flux right now with these mediums and how people are consuming this media, that, you know, these people are, it's easy for them to just point at one thing and go, well, that's the cause of it. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But
I get that. I think I agree with you too. I think that it's the whole video games for violence thing. That argument is long and dead. Even the old boomer types can't really make that work anymore, and they never really could. But I get it. The old boomers, they're the ones that were trying to, you know, say that, you know, Kiss was satanic back in the late 70s, that rap music made you violent back in the late 80s, you know, and all that.
I plan to cover the time that John Denver went into Congress for that hearing about you know, like lyrics in music. They invited like Dee Snider and John Denver went, and everybody assumed John Denver was going to be against, you know, like violent and lyrics and cursing and stuff, but he wasn't. He was like, he totally came down hard on the side of not censoring music. And yeah, just pretty much brought the house down. So I want to cover that eventually because it's just a really cool moment in history.
Yeah, I mean, that really kind of takes that quote from Dumb and Dumber and fucking tosses it on its ear.
What's the quote?
Oh, the quote is when they go the wrong way. Instead of going to the Rockies, they go to Kansas, and like Lloyd wakes up and he's like, "This is the Rockies, huh?" Like, yeah, man, that John Denver was full of shit.
Oh yeah. I need to watch that again. It's been a while.
such a great fucking movie. But anyway, Rational Skeptic here for $5, man, says, what do you think of all the Rotten Tomato reviews coming in for Ghostbusters? I didn't know that they were coming in already.
Yeah, there's about 47 reviews. It's at 72%.
Yeah, a lot of Rotten up here for the top ones at this point. Let's see, Christy Puchko from Mashable says Rotten. It's a ghoulish reanimated corpse stuffed with half-baked new characters and lazy fan service. Now, I will fully admit I'm going to be a salty cunt and most likely look at every Rotten review and just go, what the fuck did you think of 2016? Because if you give it a Rotten review and you give that one a positive, into the trash with you.
That's what's really interesting to me. A lot of the people are complaining, saying it's too fan servicey. It's too much like a sequel. I'm like, that's what it was set up to be. What were you expecting? It's meant to be a love letter to the franchise, and it's essentially the third movie. So
It's too can you believe they had proton packs and they fought ghosts? That's so fan servicey.
Yeah, like there was a whole scene where Dan Aykroyd envisioned getting head from a ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cut out of all the yeah, there's a scene again, if you've only watched the movie on television, there's a whole scene where he's like he's having a dream where like this hot blonde ghost gives him a blowjob.
It's part of a montage, but it totally does happen. Yeah. It's very, very clear what they're depicting.
And then it kind of looks like his wife though. Like I forget the actress he married, but she was kind of big in the 80s.
Okay.
And I always thought like, was that like your wife, Dan? Was that just you? You're like, I'm envisioning a hot blonde girl sucking on my dick. It's a ghost right now, but when this movie blows up.
My only question for Ghostbusters Afterlife is that if we know Dan Aykroyd's probably in the movie, but is he going to come out and tell everybody, hey, ladies and gentlemen, please buy my Crystal Head vodka?
Yeah.
Ray Stantz is selling his Crystal Head vodka now. It's his job now.
Wait, Perry Nemiroff from fucking Collider says here she gave it a negative 2.5 out of 5. Too heavy on the fan service and light on the originality and substance. If a ton of nods to the 1984 original won't do it for you, Ghostbusters Afterlife might have not. Oh my god, fuck off on that shit.
Listen, I like Perry, but that's a bad take. Take.
I agree.
I mean, like, look, the thing is, like there's lore for Ghostbusters, right? Like there's actual lore.
Matt, it's just a simple comedy. Don't read too much into it. You're not supposed to read too much into it.
No, the original was obviously a comedy. A workman's comedy, a blue collar comedy, but there's still lore back in that, and they tell
the Shandor stuff and all
the Shandor. What I'm waiting for is with this movie is the Shandor stuff going to kick out. Like, what if that's going to be in there? Because if they are able to find a way to tie Ghostbusters 2 into all this as well, like I think they're going to explain where that slime came from.
Yeah,
because in the video game, the slime was explained, and it was from the cult of Shandor who were trying to resurrect. Ivar Shandor, who's the guy who made the building that, from the first film. So it's like that. And that's how the slime came into New York. That's like, it was all the cults doing and stuff. And so it's like, oh, okay. That they were trying to find a way, I think, to tie it all together. It's cool. There's some lore. It's like,
I actually, depending if it's executed well, I like the idea that they're able to draw a through line, yeah.
Well, because they said that, because originally the Ghostbusters remastered video game was, everyone figured that was the third film, right? Because they had everybody in it and everything else. But I was at Comic-Con 2017, so a year after the 2016 movie, when Ivan Reitman was there, and he's like, oh, the video game isn't canon. And then, but this was before Afterlife, and clearly with Afterlife, they have canonized the video game again.
So yeah, they're basically doing what Star Wars did.
Yeah,
they're kind of they threw out the old legacy stuff, and yet they're going to pick and choose from it to how they're going to continue with the new canon.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Like I'm so excited for Afterlife. Jason Reitman is a fantastic director. Yeah, and he was his own admission, he was the first Ghostbusters fan, which makes sense because of who his dad was. And then having grown up around it, having the opportunity to tell the story, to expand it. But he's, I think also there could be the overcorrection on the originality simply because there is, because 2016 was so far removed and it was done almost offensively so that they wanted to make sure like it's all kind of tied together. I mean, there's that shot in the trailer where Paul Rudd is running out of the Walmart from the Terror Dog. And it's literally the exact same shot of when Louis Tully was trying to outrun the Terror Dog. And I'm like, and the thing is, I see that, I know that it's pandering. I don't fucking care. It brought a smile to my face.
Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with that is what I want to know. I mean, like, yeah, sure. If every single shot, like if they did like the Psycho remake from 2000 or whatever, where they were like shot for shot was paying homage.
Oh yeah. Complete with the added shot of Vince Vaughn beating it while looking at Anne Hesh.
It's an important shot to add. That,
yeah.
That was the only thing the original was missing.
Just a gratuitous masturbatory scene. Yeah. Fucking Gus Van Sant, and you nailed it. I saw that in theaters when it came out. I actually was like, I think I was just 17 right around that time. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go. Because I love Alfred Hitchcock Psycho. Like, I'll go see Gus Van Sant's version. I'm like, it's largely the same movie.
Yep.
I mean, even as going as far as to have Anne Heche's character go over not exit out the car door. Like, because if you ever watch Psycho, the characters never open the driver's side door and get out of the car. They just go across the seat. Because otherwise, if they would have gotten out of the car, they would have then had to either walk up in front of the car or behind the car, which would have taken them out of frame. And so to save on having to shoot the reverse shot of that, they just had them like go across the bench seat.
Huh.
If you go watch Psycho again, you'll notice it and you're why the fuck would they do that? Why the fuck would that? Like, no one ever does that, but you don't think about it at the moment. But yeah, then it's explained and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
And yet they still added the beat off scene.
They still need, I mean, I guess I get it, I mean, sure, like this was the late 90s. Yeah, I mean, Gus Van Sant's like what he did, No Time, oh, was it To Die For with Nicole Kidman and Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
I think he did that one. They get Cocaine Cowboy and a few other films. So it's like, yeah, he wanted something a little edgier. It's like, all right, hey, Vince Vaughn, I need you to wash in hate through this hole and then do your thing. And he's all like, oh, yeah, okay. Anyway. So we are coming up on the 3-hour mark. I do need to actually get to bed here pretty soon. But the one last thing I wanted to touch upon tonight, and this has been a fantastically amazing conversation, by the way, and I don't want to cut it off, but it is almost 2 a.m. my time, and I do got to go to bed. But the big news today that I thought was kind of crazy,
huge
was
news, actually.
This whole Spider-Man No Way Home special advanced trailer screening.
Yes. Do you know who organized this, by the way?
Is it comicbook.com? Is it Brandon Davis?
No, Sean O'Connell. He's the guy
motherfucker.
And guess what it's promoting? His new Spider-Man book called With Great Power.
Oh no. Am I going to this event to promote his book? Oh god. No.
Well, he was the one who first announced it. He's the one who organized it, so it was his announcement to make.
God.
So
please. No.
I did not know that. I mean, like after doing so, Sean O'Connell is a writer for Cinema Blend.
If I knew that, I would not have emailed BD.
Well, I mean, look, you can still go see it.
Yeah,
I would still go see it.
Don't worry about it.
I legitimately tried. I looked up how much it would cost me to fly from Seattle to Los Angeles for Tuesday, just in case I wanted to put my hat in the ring. It'd be like $800 round trip. It's not worth it to go for $800.
Yeah, no.
But the big thing though is like the thing you have to remember, Dane, about Sean O'Connell is he wrote the Zack Snyder released the Snyder Cut book, and he used and we talk about ethics, and he promoted it heavily within Cinema Blend. He is like the managing editor of Cinema Blend, and they were like quote mining that book in order to like run articles without, and then while linking a couple times to the Amazon page without disclosing that like this is an affiliate link. It's very unethical. It's very unethical.
Well, there's other stuff too where he was kind of like backstabbing Snyder Cut fans as well and kind of playing both sides too. There's a whole thing with him. He's very controversial.
Yeah, I noticed how ever since the movie came out, he shut the fuck up.
He did. He basically said the Snyderverse was dead. Guys were like, oh, whatever. Now he's moving on to Spider-Man. But interesting thing with this too, they're saying it is a big fan event with they said quote unquote big surprises. There's also the rumor that they're not going to release it online. It's going to be only at this fan event. I don't buy that.
Yeah, that would be a mistake, I think.
Well, yeah, it's on. So here's the thing: it's on Tuesday, right? Ghostbusters comes out on the 18th. Tuesday night. It's going to release online probably 24 hours later or early Wednesday morning because it's going to be in front of Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, of course, a Sony movie for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to wait that long because there is no chance in hell this thing is not recorded and leaked. There's no chance in hell.
That's why it would be a huge mistake.
If the description of it is leaked.
Yeah.
Oh no. So the thing is, they might take people's cell phones, which
doesn't matter. They're still going to describe it.
Yeah, people will definitely. Well, yeah, people will describe. What I mean by that is like it for what is going to be like a 2-minute fucking thing. It's going to be like that. They're treating it just like they did with that fan screening of Venom 2, right? It's like, no, don't tell anyone what you see here. It's just for you guys. Like they fucking know.
Yeah, they're trying to get word of mouth, like a little exclusivity about it, right? Like it's to get people hyped up. They're smart about this stuff in a lot of cases.
Yeah, if they are smart, they will drop the trailer Tuesday night. That I think they should drop it Tuesday night. Regardless, Sean O'Connell's saying they have an online plan. Don't worry. I think even Brandon Davis was saying, yeah, don't worry, guys. It's going to be released online same time. That's kind of the implication they're giving. If it doesn't release Tuesday night, then I think Matt's correct, probably Wednesday morning, because there's just they can't wait that long. They can't. But yeah, no, it should be interesting. They're promising big surprises. I told Matt the comparison I think you're gonna get is the reveal of Captain America: Civil War. I think all 3 Spider-Man actors are coming out on stage. They're coming out with the lights. The trailer's gonna play. They'll tease at the very end. Lights come up. There they are. So.
Yeah.
Well,
I also think they're going to fully reveal that the Sinister Six is in this fucking movie, because I mean, you've already got like 4 villains confirmed just by the poster and other sources. So I mean, it would be, Sony's been fucking itching to do a Sinister Six movie for like I don't know how many years.
God, since I mean, at least when they were developing Amazing Spider-Man 2, I mean, they brought in Drew Goddard to write and direct Sinister Six, and then that fell apart.
They've been wanting to do this for like years.
Oh, so, and now that they've got the infrastructure to do it, because they can just run parallel to Marvel.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I am kind of worried, because Sony does have a track record for going a little too hard after a little success. You know what I mean? Like, so Spider-Man 2, and then they do Spider-Man 3, and they're making all these, studio mandates for Sam Raimi. You got to put Venom in there.
See, that is a valid complaint. That's why I'm a little worried about the Venomverse stuff. But at least when it comes to the solo Spider-Man movies that we have, Marvel is behind it creatively. So I trust that the people in charge of the movies creatively, for now, are going to be fine. It's after this movie I'd be a little worried, but I think it'll be fine. Fair.
I think
again, it's about that partnership. It's like they're going to be more involved. So it's like they're basically like Marvel and Disney have like a leash on Sony, where it's like you can go a little far, but don't go too far, or else we yank the leash. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's also like, I mean, I came again today. I came across this.
Oh my god, I hated that article so much. Fuck.
This is from InsideTheMagic.net, where it's all like Marvel announces new Spider-Man star, and it's talking about the animated show.
They didn't announce anything though. We don't even know who's voicing him in that show yet.
No, but they're trying to argue, like at least from the headline, that it's not, that the character it's like, they're getting rid of Tom Holland. Never mind that this is a prequel show.
Spider-Man that's after. It's Peter Parker 2, the clone of Peter Parker.
No, it's just Peter Parker before he, when he became Spider-Man. It's like,
oh, I know, that's the joke.
It's just so ridiculous.
It's an animated thing, so it's just a different voice actor. I mean, it's no different than like.
Well, we don't even know. We don't even know is the thing. We don't even know if it's Tom Holland or not, or it's going to be the actor from What If, Hudson.
It's probably either Hudson Thames, which is the actor from What If, or Tom Holland. But I can see it being Hudson Thames being it, because
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah,
please,
he did a good job, and also because if you look at it, he'll be doing What If Season 2, and just have him be in the same booth and just switch out scripts and the director, and then boom, he can record all of his stuff back to back.
They could do that. I would prefer to get Tom Holland though, because it is his origin story, right?
I would prefer that too.
I would prefer it too, but I just don't see it, to be honest.
No, I get that. It could be, it could be. Who knows?
I'm sure they're going to ask them about it when they do press for No Way Home.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get there's going to be some of the voice actors or some of the actors are going to come back over, and they're going to tie it in. It's going to be fine. We're going to see what happened to Uncle Ben. We're going to get that story again.
Yeah, that's a big mystery. I've been wondering.
Great.
Yeah. Well, at least, at least with them.
Yeah.
Well, no, remember Amazing Spider-Man 2? They tried turning it into like Peter's parents were still alive, and
oh my god, don't remind me.
Or at least Richard Parker was. It was just,
it was just like this massive like Oscorp cover-up sort of thing, and I mean, like I don't know what the fuck they were building towards
Richard
that.
Parker and Norman Osborn were in cahoots to kill Peter Parker with the Sinister Six program or whatever.
What? No, yeah, don't forget Norman Osborn's head was going to be in a jar. Remember?
Oh yeah, and he was going to become the Goblin King.
Oh man!
And don't forget, they were going to introduce the Carnage symbiote and make the Carnage Gwen Stacy. They're going to do the Clone Saga in Spider-Man 3.
Wait, the Goblin King? Does that mean he was going to like turn into David Bowie and have like a big crotch? And
never underestimate the power of that crotch, man. That thing bounces around, force to be reckoned with.
Right.
At the end of the day,
I heard lots of puppeteers died that day.
The real star of the movie.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, I'm just happy this trailer's finally coming out. It's probably going to confirm what everybody knows, so we just all shut the hell up and just wait for the damn movie.
Here's the thing with that. The thing with that, though, is I think to avoid spoilers, what they're going to have to do probably is they're going to show the trailer there. This is what Comic-Con does. So Comic-Con will get you into Hall H, and they'll go like, all right, guys, this is for you. This is all for you. We're doing it all for everyone. You're all Damien, motherfuckers. And then they'll show us the trailer or whatever. And then as soon as the trailer finishes playing for us, or maybe as soon as it starts, because theoretically it's still first, they hit publish on YouTube. So I think the trailer is going to drop that night. And I don't think it's going to drop. I think it's going to drop at like 5:15, 5:30. I think as soon as it's done, showing to that audience of people, because it's only going to be it goes online, because if they bring out Toby, because okay, here's my take. They're going to take everyone's cell phones, right? They're going to put them all away so no one can record it, no one can put it out there, and then no one can immediately go out and tweet what it is. Then they're going to do a little Q&A afterward, or a little presentation afterward, where they're going to bring out Toby and bring out Andrew. I mean, if that's the case. And then from there, they're going to showcase it online. So by the time people get out of the auditorium, the trailer's already going to be out. And then, but then all the spoilers will already have been shown. So whatever people have from inside won't be seen as a major like spoiler detriment. I think that's what they're going to have to do.
Well, so like essentially, if that's the case, and that sounds pretty reasonable to me, essentially the marketing strategy is to get more attention on the trailer. Period. Like, so you create this exclusive event and create the idea around it that, oh, only a few people are going to get to see this, and then it gets people talking, because look at what we're doing. We're talking about it. Whereas we might not be so excited to talk about an upcoming trailer. We probably would have just waited until the trailer came out to talk about it if they hadn't done this.
Yeah, it's still such a bizarre campaign. Like, why not just do it traditionally? It's like, why do this big elaborate theatrical fan exclusive LA trailer event? Unless, of course, it is the Civil War type thing where it's like, okay, it's a trailer launch. It's 3 minutes, but here's the actors on stage. You guys can do a Q&A, right? Or like some big press thing, right?
Something along those lines.
There has to be something bigger besides just a trailer. There's something else going on with this.
I mean, you're probably right about bringing those actors out. Yeah, they just show the whole thing.
They're like, it's leaked already. Here's the movie.
Oh no, that could be it too. I mean, that could be it as well. They could.
There's no chance in fucking hell. There's no way.
I mean, well, if they take everyone's cell phones, then that's entirely a possibility.
I mean, we are only a month out from the movie, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? They showed that fan event for Venom right before.
Yeah, but that was 2 weeks.
Like 2 weeks, different. 2-3 weeks away from it.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, we are a month away. I don't know.
I mean, but if they were to do it like the 2 to 3 week span from it, it would be the week after Thanksgiving, and people don't like to be doing things the week after Thanksgiving.
I just realized something. The big surprise: everyone in the audience gets a copy of Sean O'Connell's book.
Oh God! Please, I'll burn it. I'll be like, I'll burn it.
You guys laugh.
I'll burn it right in front of him. I'll be like,
just send it to me so I can archive it.
Right. Yeah, I'll give it to
I'm thinking RJ, more about what you're saying, and if they're going to bring out both the other Spidey actors, they will probably also fucking bring out Willem Dafoe. You know what I mean? Like, how amazing would that be?
I wish they would, but here's the thing, right?
He's such a meme, right? Like that Green Goblin has become such a meme.
I think the idea is that they want to have these actors be revealed before the red carpet and press junkets, so you can have Toby, Andrew, Tom, Willem Dafoe, all these actors on the red carpet doing the interviews, making a big marketing thing too. Because red carpets and press interviews are marketing stuff too. That gets people interested.
Yeah.
It's Toby, Tom, Andrew, Willem, Jamie, Alfred, Rise. Who am I missing?
They could just bring out everybody. I mean, the thing is, are there any spoilers that this movie won't put out?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they must have some pretty. I mean, to be fair, the first two Spidey films in this series each have a pretty good surprise in them.
They did, yeah. The Vulture thing, and then Mysterio, kind of, with the other stuff. The ending, the twist ending, the plot, the post-credit scene too.
Right. So yeah, they're 2 for 2 on like actually giving us some genuine surprises in the movies. But yeah.
So
well, I mean, like I think the connecting to the other Sony stuff is Sony's direction, and Marvel's like anything with the multiverse, like leave that the fuck out.
Well, I think the biggest wild card so far for No Way Home that I don't think's been spoiled yet is going to be the Venom connection. If there is some kind of
there has to be a
cameo or
Venom
something
connection
or
after the
post-credits
last movie.
Like why is Venom out of all of these villains who know Spider-Man, but Venom doesn't really know who Spider-Man is?
Yeah.
By
the way, I saw it was in the chat too. I do not believe they'll show Charlie Cox in the trailer. I think it's something they say.
Probably
for the
not.
movie.
Yeah.
I think because it's Marvel connected.
Yeah.
I think they're focusing on the Sony stuff because they're trying to build up their universe and like showcase that. I mean, if you think like there was an interesting comment that Tom Holland made the other day talking about the Venom 2 post scene, and he's like, it was a lot of fun to be a part of that movie.
Oh.
And I'm like, what do you mean it was like? But the image was a promotional image.
No, I think it was new footage they shot.
Scene,
new shot of him.
That scene was literally from Jimmy Kimmel. Like, it was like a copy and paste with the green screen in the back, and put a New York street background in it.
Was it?
Yeah.
That is bizarre.
It's the one when he's literally when like when they have all the Spider-Man come into the Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, whatever. I think it's Jimmy Kimmel. They all have like 5 Spider-Man come into the room, and then like 4 leave, and then Jimmy's like, "Oh, why did you stay?" And it takes off the mask, and it's like Tom Holland. Oh my god! Like it's like I think it was like something like that.
Do you guys think that this is probably the most anticipated and probably the biggest trailer of all time?
No.
No? I don't know.
No. I mean, like for right now, sure. I mean, forever.
I'm saying like last couple years. I think definitely.
I mean,
I've not seen a trailer this anticipated in a while.
Think about waiting for the trailer for Endgame. After Infinity War and the way that it ended, I feel like there was a lot of anticipation for that first Endgame trailer. Like, where the fuck are they going to go with this? But yeah,
I don't know. I have no idea.
But you know what I want to see? I'd like to see, like, okay, let's say Spider-Man's swinging around, Tom Holland, and then suddenly you see Venom kind of swing by the screen real fast. Like, oh shit, it's Venom! But then it's Topher Grace Venom. And then Tom Hardy Venom comes in while they're fighting and just fucking eats Topher Grace. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I think it would be really funny if they trolled everybody by having Topher Grace come back. I just think I'd be like, yes, thank you for your service, Sony.
And he's like, hey, I just wanted to show you I made an edit of the first 3 Spider-Man films and that made them into one film. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does fan edits. I don't know if that joke landed, but
no, I get the joke. But
I said, I'm just hoping and praying. Please release it online right away. Don't hold it for like another few days or a week. Please just drop it online.
No, they can't. They fucking can't.
I know, but this marketing campaign's been so weird already. It's Sony. You never know.
Yeah, that's true. You never know what's gonna happen.
But either way, we know something's coming on Tuesday, so that's nice. Yeah, it's nice to have that confirmation after today. So.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm looking forward to knowing more. I think it's going to be a lot of fun when we finally get to see it. I know, Caden says he's going to be there, so we can get boots on the ground reporting about what it is you saw, and then everything.
Again, this is if my email went through DB or BD.
Well, the email goes in, and then Sony.
Okay, so
Sony's just supposed to send it out. Yeah.
Okay.
But on that note, guys,
everyone.
Yes, keep emailing.
Yeah,
different accounts over and over and over again.
Like email crazy thing is that I realized that I looked back at the email. I put 2 tickets, and I'm just by myself going. So I'm like, oh,
shit, sell that on eBay.
Who wants to go to No Way Home fan event, guys?
You've got the
you
PlayStation
can make some serious
5
money.
Of movie tickets right now.
Hey, and then I think BD also just recently tweeted out he's gonna buy people 2 tickets to No Way Home, a theater of their choice. I was like, that's very nice of him.
Damn.
Well, you know what? Let me take a look here. No Way Home trailer. I'm on eBay. No one is selling the trailer just yet.
You could be the first one. You can bid for it right now.
Can we create a fake? Anyone here can create a fake No Way Home trailer ticket, and then just go what you're buying. Obviously, it's for entertainment.
It's a
only.
YouTube link.
Starting bid at $15. Let's see how long.
Yeah,
Here's
This
a
is
YouTube link to the No Way Home trailer. You wanted
it.
Everyone's selling. And by the way, I think it's funny. Everyone's selling Caden. Please wear a hidden camera, Caden.
I know.
Yeah,
Y'all are trying to get him in trouble with the.
They
Sony
won't be
police.
checking for that.
Yeah, they won't be.
Wear my jacket that has like an extra pocket on the front where it's like I can put my phone and press record audio and be like.
Could you imagine if they don't take away people's phones though?
If they don't take away people's phones, the whole fucking thing is a setup. Like
It's
if
a
they
setup,
don't,
guys.
Well,
no. What I mean by that,
don't,
is if they don't,
like, you know, they'll just release it online, so they don't care.
yeah. What I mean by that is if they don't take away people's phones, then that trailer is dropping. Like that trailer is dropping. Like at any moment, it's like when they dropped the first trailer. I was outside with my girlfriend and my kids, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, like it drops, and I'm like, I'll be back in a minute. I gotta go do a trailer reaction, you know. And I'm like, yeah, like fuck, where's my fucking hat? God damn it, you know.
Get everything ready, hurry.
I'm out there in the backyard where the kids are playing like the sand table and whatever. It's summertime, and I've got like I'm like taking selfies, trying to get like the right look in order to like start making the thumbnail on my phone. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah, dude, I was pissed because my internet dropped. Because I'm replacing Spectrum this week with AT&T Fiber 1000. Thank fucking God. But Spectrum, like my whole internet went out, my computer crashed and wasn't working. I'm like, what the fuck? Why now? Like, I want to cover this damn thing. God damn it! It's like
Funny thing is when it was like when CinemaCon was going on, so Ty and Austin had a great idea to be live during that time, so we were able to do it right then and there, and we got.
yeah.
I think that was
I might do that on Tuesday night. Then I might go live at that point. I'll just do like let's get the early reactions coming in from the No Way Home trailer
and I'm
event.
sure you'll get a bunch of views.
Dude,
like
Matt, if you do that, I'll totally be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. Let's see. I'll 5 to 6 o'clock or whatever that night. I won't go out driving.
That's PST time, right?
That's PST, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or more like once it's over, PTSD.
Oh god.
For post tremendous Sony non-disappointment.
Yeah.
Just say post nut syndrome. It's okay.
Post nut. That's post nut clarity, which I think a lot of people are gonna have walking out of that theater, and they're like, "Wow, I see clearly for the first time. This cleared my cataracts."
It's like
and my acne.
Dude, this movie's gonna be so big.
I
it's
wonder
gonna be funny.
How many people that did like email like those people to get a ticket are like the Toby and Andy deniers, and like once they see the trailer and once they see the Q&A after, it's like, oh, now I'm a full-on believer because I've seen them on the screen now and in front of me. So it's
I'm really curious to see where things go. But guys, on that note, I have got to wrap this thing up. I've got to get to bed. It is 2:08 in the morning for me. I don't know where you are, Dane, but it's late.
Not far from you, man. I'm in the Portland area. So.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. I grew up in Tigard, so.
Right on.
So like that was I lived there till '99, and then I was in Beaverton for a while, but fuck, that place is expensive.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So you guys can check out Dane Forced Adversity over there on YouTube. Is it just youtube.com Forced Adversity?
No, it's actually youtube.com/c/actual context.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Actual context. Yeah. I think the C is also kind of interchangeable. You don't always need it, but let's see here. I'll post it in the chat. Let's see here. youtube.com actual context.
Yep.
All right. Okay. And then there you go. And then Caden, where can people find you outside of being at the Spider-Man event on Tuesday?
You can find me at the Pop Culture Corner, and you can also find me at Little Big City Studio Networks.
All right. And then RJ.
Yeah, pretty easy to find. You can find me on Resonant Justice, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that good stuff. And I just put out a video. I clipped the Jeremy rant, so if you want to go back and watch that, you can. It's pretty funny. So thanks for having me on. I look forward to some good Spider-Man stuff on Tuesday. It should be good.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Matt. I really appreciate it, guys. I just want to get one last thing up here for my own thing, if I could fucking think about it. I can never type and talk at the same time. I'm like, let me just do this. Brain's like, nope, I don't work that way. All right. Anyway, so another thing, if you guys would like to get more out of me, I do podcast called Stranger Days, where I talk about some weird stories from across history and the internet. And that can be found at the link right there, youtube.com/forbidden knowledge 2. It's also available on podcasts wherever you get them. It's a lot of fun. I just talked about actually The Last Duel that just came up this week, where I go through the whole story about how the whole thing happened and the thrilling conclusion. And I don't know, it's I haven't seen the movie yet, but the story is really, really, really interesting.
Skip the movie and say screw you, Ridley Scott.
The movie is like 2.5 hours long, but Jarbo's podcast is only 32 minutes. It's like the fucking Blinkist or Cliff Notes.
It's the abridged version of Ridley Scott's film.
Yes, the abridged version.
Hell yeah.
No, it's a lot of there's so many fucking crazy stories out there. Like it's so fun I love sitting down to research this stuff because like some of the stuff is just like, what the fuck, you know, like how did this happen? And then you realize that people throughout history are just dumb.
Yep.
So you know what? Take that with you today, guys. Take that story with you. People throughout history were dumb. Don't be like people throughout history. I don't know. I'm so fucking tired.
Sage-like advice. Yeah, I'm super sleepy myself.
Good night, everybody.
Don't repeat history.
Don't repeat history. But old Playboys, still good jerk material.